Hello and good afternoon. I'm just checking my levels. Everything seems to be okay. So I think we're on now for day 8 of IAE Crusader Day, or as Luna made the joke yesterday, Crusader. Clearly not a fan. Good evening or afternoon, morning, whatever time of day it is for you, to Keoko, to Pilgrim, Space Saga, Jammy Bugger, Tibbs, Del Kenobi. Good to see you all. Hopefully you didn't get jump scared by my face, but it's not beyond the realms of possibility. So there we are. I realised I've made a bit of a mistake. I said, I think on Tuesday, that we were going to go and start an hour early today and watch the Star Citizen Ship Talk Twitch stream. Now, I kind of didn't do that, obviously, because I've only just started. So I've got the Twitch thing up in the background. Obviously, I've muted all the audio and stuff. So if people haven't seen that and we want to watch that together once we've changed over, then we can go and watch that, and that'll obviously add at least an hour plus discussion time to the stream. But if that's what people want to do, then I am all for it. If people haven't kind of beat me to it and watched it already, entirely possible, to be fair. But there we go. Let's see what they have in store for us today. So we're going to start off doing the normal stuff. Like I said, I haven't seen the Ship Talk Twitch stream, so I might just hang around on stream and watch it anyway and see what you guys think. But I know a lot of people will have watched at least part of it by now. We'll look at Crusader, we'll look at the funding stuff, all the same stuff that we do at IAE, and that will be our stream for today. So yeah, do you know what? After saying to you guys that I absolutely hate um the without further ado, I almost did it then. Without further ado. Um AV, welcome in. Hello, Luna. The MBDC and PDT bundle has made me shake up the foundations of my fleet, says Jemmy Bugger, going for the Expanse vibe. Badgers, do you think they're going to sell weapons packs at the end of IE or wait till Invictus? Weapon packs for what? Sorry. I thought the PDC stuff was for sale in the vast. I thought the PDTs, the missile, the Gatling, and the laser, I thought they were in. Because that was the issue. They hadn't done that with the Wolf, but they'd done it with the PDTs. So I haven't been in to check myself, but that's certainly what they said. I kind of need to go and check that, I think. But I'm sure John Crew said in that video that they were for selling the Vath. So is that what you're talking about in terms of weapons packs, or are you talking about the are you talking about the weapons for the Wolf and Alpha Wolf? Good to see you too, Luna. Not a fan of flying a Boeing 777 in space. That's fair enough, and we'll talk about the 777 a little bit later on. Well, both of them. You've got the Hercules and then you've got the Starliner, and we'll have a look at both. So, yeah, we'll have a look. Let's jump across then to the funding and see where they are at the moment. And I'm not going to lie, I have called it consistently poorly the whole time of IE, pretty much. But let's have a look. Let's see where I went wrong. So there we are. Having said that I wasn't expecting Greycat and Consolidated to be a massive day, yes, there was the time limited sales of the Pioneer. Yes, there was the new $50 ship. But with the Wolf, bearing in mind the Wolf was back here, that was not on my list of things to see. That was a bit of a shock. So there we go. Because it was, yeah, that's just kind of crazy. But coming in at just under, by the looks of it, 2.7 million. That's not a bad place to be. So yeah, up to well, they've busted the 900 million funding goal now. We are now at 905 million pound or $1 million raised. That is mental. I'll tell you what I didn't do at the beginning of this, and I'll be interested. Maybe I'll go back and have a look at an earlier stream. I'll tell you what I didn't do was I didn't look at this figure over here. I'm almost tempted to go now and load that up. In fact, I'm going to. I'm going to go find my first stream because we always have a look at the funding and whatever else. I'm going to have to. Sorry for the ads, but I'm just going to see if we can find. Where are we? So there's the schedule. So, wow, that's a bigger figure than I was expecting, although it might not be as big as what you guys have seen. So, looking at my initial stream, the day one Perseus Salvation Hermes, it was 6,028,655. So, in a week and a day, up what? 65,000 citizens, 65,000 accounts. Let's go with that. 65,000 accounts. Now, of course, a large part of that is going to be people buying Salvation game packs as a second pack and using the referrals and all that sort of good stuff. But still a healthy upward number for an MMO. So that's good news. I don't think they'll sell the PDCs alone if that's what you mean. Armor sets on site are already up. The Idris got weapons kit with a bunch of stuff for a few hundred, but I don't know they would ever sell the PDC standalone because pricing and such would just be weird. Yeah, they are in-game shops already, is my understanding. So the PDCs and stuff in the in-game shops, so no need to stress there. And there you can see, that's the effect right there of the on-the-hour sales. So there's one peak, 100,000. There's another peak, 108,000. Yeah. So every time that's gone live, it's been 100,000 in and of itself, which doesn't really account for that. Sorry, I'm clicking the wrong thing. Doesn't really account for that, but that's interesting. Clearly, a lot of people really gone in for the PDCs or the PDT. Sorry, I've got some cops. I just heard myself say it out loud. The PDCs on the MDC. Yeah. The forces are also very fond of their three-letter abbreviations, their TLAs. And after a while, you sound like an absolute lunatic talking about it out loud. And yeah, I guess we've hit lunacy stage as Star Citizen. Although some would argue we hit it some time ago, and I don't think they're wrong either. 60,000 people wanted a Star Kit and Dragonfly. 60,000 people are weird. They mentioned kits for the Aegis like the Wolf kits, though we might see more stuff like that this IAE. Potentially. Teapot, welcome in. And welcome in as well to Neil B. Good to see you. Yeah, so in terms of the PDCs and PDTs, as far as we are aware, they are already being sold in the verse. I think someone said yesterday when we were streaming this, they said they had seen them in Nix confirmed. So maybe you need to go to Nix to find them, but they are in game. So needing to sell them separately, not so much. John Chavez says, I think the I like the MDC, but it's an earning game for me. The UTC on the UTC on the other hand, what's the UTC? What am I missing? UTV. Okay. Yes, that. Lots. Hello, Bingo Winchester. Good to see you. Hello, Sylvan. Yeah. Welcome in all, and to yourself, John, as well, having just read out your comment. Yeah, good to see you all. And that's where we are at the moment. So, Crusader today, not expecting a huge change in what's going on. Obviously, we're not expecting there to be any new release ship. There has been some discussion about what could happen tomorrow. If you've noticed the pattern, RSI release, Origin non-release, Drake release, and so on and so forth. Every other day has been a release. That is not happening as far as we're aware tomorrow. Does that mean the RSI Apollo is actually the Aegis? The RSI Hermes is actually the Aegis Hermes? Possibly, possibly not. There is some kind of crazy chain of thought it could be the Javelin. Again, I'm not sure. I think there is enough stuff going on in the verse for there to not need to be another release. Found the PDCs at New Babbage yesterday, JP Jeep says. Awesome. Thank you very much for confirming that. So they're definitely there as well. Yep, UTV, ATM, PDC, STD, or STV, I think you mean, Jammy. I think that might have been a Freudian slip there, my friend. Just sorry, calling you out on stream like that. It's awful. But yes, I think you mean the Steve, right? Not the other one. I won't repeat that. But yeah, so that's where we are. And I don't know where I think the warbond is going to be today. If I had to guess, I think it'll be one of the Hercules series. Would be surprised if it's the MSR. I think it's going to be one of the Hercs. I think the fact that the SRV yesterday as a sub $200 ship, I think it will probably be either the M2 or the A2. But we'll see. Maybe it'll be the C2. Maybe it'll be something else. What do you guys think? Hello, Truther. Welcome in. So yes, what do you guys think? What's the warbond going to be for Crusader? What do we reckon? It could be the Ares. It could be the MSR. It could be. I mean, it could be one of the C1, the Spirit class, I guess. But I think it's likely to be either the M2 or the A2. M2 says Sylvan. Bingo Winchester says A2. Yeah, it certainly feels like it's going to be one of the larger ships. And then it'll be anyone's guess for the finale. I think they'll select a ship for the warbond that I cannot use in any of my chains without reworking them, says AV. It's all a conspiracy against you, mate. They are absolutely just not going to let you have the nice stuff. C1 or C2, says John. Hoping for the M2 from my Arastra chain, says Teapot. Yeah, so, because a lot of the Hercules sit in fairly reasonable slots in chains, so that's good news. Star Runner to upset everyone, says Jammy. Some people just want to watch the world burn. So there we go. So the funding model, or the funding tracker, 130 million. So 13.13 million, or at least a 10%. Says 12 there. I'll trust it. A 12% increase on previous years. And we still have the rest of this month and December to go. Who knows if we get a new ship with 4.5? You would kind of expect there to be with a new patch, because we've had one pretty much every patch this year so far. So yeah, maybe there will be at Christmas. Maybe they're going to give themselves a break. Who knows? It's kind of hard to tell with CIG sometimes what they're going to go for. But, I mean, they've set the pattern. It's kind of expected that that's what they're going to do, right? So that's where we are. We're coming up to Crusader and Tumbrel. I suppose, I mean, could be the Tonk? Could you go for the Tonk or something? I guess you could. But I just don't see it at this point. And then, as we said, Aegis Dynamics tomorrow. The best in show on Saturday. Video coming on Saturday. Vice, the live stream. I'll put it up for the same time so you guys can have a look. And I'll make sure that it goes up in time that you can watch it and still have time to get straight into the changes and not have to distract yourself. And then I will be back live in time for the finale. And we'll see where we are. If the warbonds are going to stay the same all the way through the finale, then we'll probably do one live stream on the first day, one live stream on the last day, and that will be it. Because there's not much changing and not much to talk about, therefore. If the warbonds are changing, then of course we will jump in as well. So, flashbang. No? There we go. Okay. Are we up? We're up. So it is the A2 warbond, and let's see what sort of saving we're going to get. So 700 first. Oh no. Okay, they've done a 10% saving. Not bad as these things go. Unfortunately for me, this doesn't fit in a chain because I've got that crazy jump from the Karak up to the Perseus. However, having said that, to get this one at 750 gives me a little bit more, a few more places to go. 800, obviously you've only got the ships above that you can CC you up to. I'd imagine later on when we get some ships releasing like the Odyssey and that, maybe this would be useful in the chain, but it's not jumping off the page at me right now. Weak warbonds, same old and same as previous years, people are saying. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but that's where it is. So, looking at the offerings today, you've got the Spirit class. So you've got the A1, and I mean the A1's flyable. The A1's flyable at the minute, just like the other ones are. So there's your bomber variant. If you want to do bomber gameplay without having to spend up to the larger price of ships, then you absolutely can for the mediocre price of $200. Yeah, that. A2 Hercules. massive ordnance. That's the other bomber. That's the one that we're looking at. Unless you want to go and fit bespoke racks to your, or you fit racks to your other missile carrying stuff. That's where we are. Ares Inferno and Ion. Yep, they are ships with guns. I don't really have much to say about them. They've been discussed to death. The C1 kind of stands out for me because I picked it up as a part of a warbond chain and went, do you know what? I've got the freelancer. I'm going to go to this thing just to give it a try. And since I did that, it stayed in my chain because I actually quite like it. I think it's good fun to fly. It's versatile. It's nippy. It's exceptionally quick on the quantum, even stock. So yeah, I like the C1 a lot. It's kind of good fun. Yeah, this is the interesting thing, John. Mark, excellent. Welcome in. Good to see you. Malemba, Matt P, everyone else that I haven't said hello to, welcome in. It's good to see you all. And there has something that I have been remiss in saying. I've just realised. A very happy Thanksgiving to all our American friends in chat. So happy Thanksgiving to you all. I hope you're having an awesome day spending time with family. What are you doing here? Go and spend it with your family, you nutters. But I'm honoured that you're in here anyway. Ruboy, good to see you. Hellwinter, hello. So yeah, C2. The E1. So there's two ships, and I can see from the wing shape on the next one that it's the next ship that we're going to talk about. I find it a little bit hard to talk and get excited for ships like the Genesis, like the E1 Spirit, because there's so little we know about passenger gameplay. And I think the first time I think about passenger gameplay, I just see all the problems that we have with AI right now and pathing and issues and T-posing and chairs and spawning half in the ground. The idea of having to load them onto a shuttle or a ship like this and then get them somewhere and then unload them makes me want to slam my fingers in a drawer. So they're not really, it doesn't speak to me a lot in that vein, if that makes sense. I'm sure once they've done, because they've talked about, especially for the executive stuff, like part of that gameplay loop, I guess coming with repair, being like repairing the in-flight entertainment system, getting people's drinks served and that sort of stuff. It is a far cry from going to ASD and discovering why, some mad scientist in space has gone completely off the rails and conducting completely unethical experiments versus, I didn't get ice in my Jack and Coke. It's a bit interesting. I'm not knocking the gameplay loop. I'm just saying that as games go, if I wanted to go and make a drink for someone and get paid to do it, I can do that in real life. All right, not on a spaceship per se, but you get my point. It's a bit of a strange one, and of course it's going to be some people's niche, and that's awesome. I'm really glad that it's represented in game. It's just I don't know how successful it's going to be, and if you have a niche that is very, caters for a very small number of players in a game, I'm unsure as to just how much attention it's going to get. And then it becomes this weird cycle of, well, I'm not playing it because it's not great and it's not getting that much attention. And then CIG are going, well, I'm not giving it that much attention because not many people are playing it. And it becomes a vicious cycle sometimes. So there we go. I think Genesis will go modular as concept showed this to an extent. Did it? I'm not sure. I don't really remember. Oh, hang on. I'm skipping the wrong way. I do apologise. I know what I'm doing. Honest. So yeah, I mean that's the. So let's go to see all ship details. It's definitely, you can see how it will be modified into the Crusader design, but it definitely doesn't feel like it's there at the moment. And of course, you've always got to be careful with stuff like that because anytime you change a design, there are going to be people, depending on how successful your design is, will determine how much this happens to you. But if you don't get that design absolutely spot on, you will, even if you do, you're still going to get a group of people who go, that's not what I've pledged for. I don't want it anymore. That's not the design that I was after. It was the design that I went for. And that's a perfectly reasonable kind of position to take. So it's going to get rebranded, which is going to get, or it's going to get redesigned, I think, which is going to upset some people because that is not immediately screaming Crusader at me. The cockpit actually says a little bit more MISC, especially at that angle in the silver. And that wasn't planned, by the way. So yeah, I'm not sure with this one. Welcome in, Ray. Good to see you. Flying smoothly or moving on time. Luna's unsure if the whole kind of moving NPCs is going to happen at all. I mean, you'd kind of hope, right? I mean, it's fairly standard for games to be able to get NPCs into a vehicle like that and then to sit down and then to take them places, then to get off and do that sort of stuff. I don't feel like that's beyond the realms of possibility. I think what it is beyond the realms of what we've seen the game do consistently and reliably up until now. So there's that. That art is so old. It really, really is. Don't like the look of the ship, says Ruboy. It looks more alien-like. There's definitely some parts to it, like the ribbing down here makes it look that way for sure. The A2 as warbond disappoints me. Was hoping for the C1, says Stevens. Yeah. Think Apollo modules. Potentially. If that was a Bano ship, I could get with it. Yeah, it's definitely, it needs changing. I mean, you can see from the wing design, you could keep the kind of silhouette and have that look far more Crusader, right? You could see that happening, but these gaps through here and like the VTOLs and stuff, I'm not sure that that's gonna. I mean, that's massively thrust inefficient for a start, but now I'm just getting nerdy about it. So yeah, and I have no idea what that has to do with the Starliner. I suppose other than to go, this is how different designs would look like on the wing. Yeah, that, because where's it pulling the air in from? Surely you want to pull the air straight down. But there you go. Loading ramps. Yes, because we all walk up a loading ramp. I mean, the military have. If anyone's flown in the C-130, you walk up a ramp into the plane. But even the movers, some of the aircraft that they use, you board like a normal aircraft, albeit steps into the aircraft rather than a boarding tunnel from the RAF. But yes, there you go. So there's that. It is interesting, however, that they have that most of the Crusader designs, we have some workable version of all of them in the verse, right? So you've got the E1 that's not in yet, this thing, and you've got the Genesis that isn't in yet, and that's it. So we're waiting on variants, or the E1 variant for gameplay, and we're waiting on the Genesis also because of gameplay. But that's it. That entire lineup is in the game, which is kind of interesting. My wife beckons have to go be social now. Hal Winter, good to see you. Thank you very much. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, sir. Have a good one, and I'll see you soon. Come on, Badgers. Everyone knows you cover the intake of your VTOL engines. They don't need air to create thrust, right? I mean, what do I know? Ooh, taquitos. Save us one, mate. I do enjoy that. Can't wait for passenger gameplay, says Mark. Excellent. Yeah, it's one of those. I'll be interested to see it in the verse. I think it's going to bring an element of life to the verse that is really going to stand out watching NPCs and that board planes and all that sort of stuff. It's going to create some jank as well. You can imagine two of them trying to get onto the boarding stairs or the boarding tunnel at the same time and, trying to occupy the same seat. And how do you allocate NPC seat numbers? Like, that's just weird. But yes, there's going to be some fun, and I think there's going to be some crazy bugs in it as well. But if they pull it off, then I'm glad it's in the verse. Again, it's like so many things, right? Is what you're doing by doing this is you're appealing to the flight sim crowd to an extent. Yes, the flight sim crowd are in it for the realism of being in the cockpit of an aircraft and stuff. But then again, you have the Euro Truck Simulator crowd, and there is those people that just want to feel like they're doing that same everyday stuff without the pressure of doing it for real. And I think this is something that falls into that, and the fact that they'll actually be flying NPCs around, and they get to do it in space. There's definitely appeal for some people in there, which is good news. I think it'll be something to do between groups and good training to fly well, very very possibly. Drake, passenger gameplay, add some sofas to a cargo grid and hope for the best. Yeah, just, like the netting, the kind of webbing that they have on the things. It's just put people in that and just have them there. So yeah. Right. So Tumbrel then. Uh, do you know what? There's so much in here that, and yet so little. You've got the Cyclone and about 3 bazillion variants of it, and there's a tank, and there's a motorbike. I know there are 2 tanks. there's that tank, and then there's that tank, and then there's those. So yeah, not much to be said about Tumble. I think, again, looking forward, for example, forest planets. If you look at the swamp, even the swamp biome stuff, right? You have, and the redwood stuff, definitely. You have single trees, very, very tall, lots of foliage at the top, but nowhere near the same footprint at the bottom. So what you've got is a canopy you can't penetrate, loads of space at the bottom to move stuff around. So all of a sudden, then things like nurses and hover quads and these sorts of vehicles and all that sort of stuff are going to become really, really useful. Because people go, well, why wouldn't you just use hover quads? Yeah, sure, fine. Until you come up against that in a hover quad and it completely destroys you. So, there's lots of that sort of, there's going to be the normal arms race below the canopy, within canyons of rock. Whatever what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever the environment, whatever the alien biome, the space biome that you're in, however that's ruled out ships, apart from certain areas where you can touch down and land, but to proceed anywhere under it, you've got to do it through vehicles. That's when this stuff is really going to be useful. For now, people were right when they said the main use of this stuff is PvP. Right? You're fighting at Hathor, someone rocks up in a Nova. For most people, that's kind of, well, we'll just leave that alone until it goes away, sort of thing. Sure, you get the people that run around with railguns, but even then, it's a tank. What are you going to do? I'm in a tank. So there's that. I want the motorbike, but it's a buying game. I'm waiting for those bikes, says Tibbs. That's what the A2 is for. I love the Cyclones, but the MDC and MTC kind of killed them. Yeah, to an extent. I think that I mean, when you say when it killed them, the key thing here is you can't target the PDCs. And at the moment, the PDCs are only attacking stuff that's hostile. So until it goes hostile, and how does an A2 go hostile? Drops a Moab first, then it becomes hostile, then the PDC attacks it. But I'm guessing a Moab versus PDC, or the MDC. So yeah, so there are gaps in it at the moment. And of course they're going to work out the target acquisition and stuff for those things and, set that sort of stuff up. But it's not as easy as it first appears. Bye, Polio. Hello, welcome in. I'm perfectly happy being a space and ground mercenary. Nice. So yeah, I think the Cyclone fits in more ships than the MXC. Do they? Interesting. I've not done or seen a size comparison. But yeah, 3 PDCs kills a Moab. It does, but it only targets the Moab if it comes from a red ship. How does an A2 go red? At least those are the reports that I'm seeing at the moment. So you have a ship that is not flagged as hostile, drops ordnance near you. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to attack the ordnance, because how does it tell the difference between that and a friend who's firing ordnance? Do you see what I mean? So there's that. Yeah, it's interesting. So lots of fun here. I'm sure there's lots of people, and there's some great kind of videos of people doing tonk battles and all that sort of stuff. But there's not much there left after all of that to kind of go and really have a look at and all that sort of stuff. There's not much in there that you could say. So what I'm trying to say by that is there's not much in there that you can go and say this really is a must-have. I don't think there's anything in Tumblr's lineup that is like that, right? because most of the times the answer is, well, I'll just be in a ship, so there. So, yeah. They're PvP only right now. Yeah, and, you know, there's lots of things that, like we've said before, that when we went and did Hathor, we parked the ship some way away, and you just take a compass bearing. So what you do is when you land, you point your ship at the Hathor site, right? Because you either put a marker on or you land in nav mode so you can see it. You take what the compass bearing is and you just align to the ship and you just drive straight as much as you can and you'll find Hathor. Those dishes are big enough, you'll find it, right? You drive 40 kilometers, you find it. The great thing about that is, especially if you've got something like the Hermes or whatever and you're driving around in a Dragonfly or a whatever. Sorry, did I say Hermes? I did say Hermes, didn't I? Idiot. You've got a medical ship with you. You bring another ship that's got the vehicles. Most people, when they go to Hathor, if they're worried about PvP, they'll destroy the medical ships that are on the ground because they're respawn points. So you destroy that and then you kill the people that are on the ground, and that's that. You avoid that with this by having a ship that's got a tier bed big enough to keep you in its coverage area. But, you know, you avoid detection unless they happen to approach by flying straight over you. So there you go. NPCs don't use them, so there's no need to use some as a counter yet. Yeah, exactly that. I'm back here. Let me pass you your taquito through the screen badges. Thanks, John. Appreciate that. Happy days. I will have some copium though, if that's all right with everyone else. Same bottle, not same bottle, different bottle. The beautiful thing of living on your own is that A, you can get away with doing that without offending anyone, and B, it cuts down on washing up. So it's a win-win. Still love the Nova, even with little game use. The Nova's good fun to use. There is absolutely something really fun about sitting in that turret and just yeeting rounds at the size 5. Galeron, have you used the rotary cannon for it, the Gatling cannon? Because I haven't used that yet, so I'd be interested to see what that's like. The only reason I kept the Asgard over the Starlancer when I wanted to upgrade to the Perseus. Ah, interesting. So the Asgard for the Tonk. Nice. Good choice, sir. Good choice. So yeah, so that's where we are now. I'm kind of every so often I'm looking over and I'm checking the live stream. The live stream is still going. It's an hour and a half. So we can either wait for it to finish and start and straight again. Has anyone in here seen it already, or is anyone kind of like dual streaming the things? Do people basically what I'm asking you guys? Let's just ask the question I'm actually asking. Do you want to continue talking until the live stream is then a video and we can watch it ourselves in its entirety, or are you happy for me to kind of maybe look to summarize it at some point and just do the headline stuff? Whatever you guys think. Which bit is Bible Galeron? Sorry, I'm confused. Waiting to watch the whole thing, says Teapot. Yeah, so what I'm saying is, do you want to watch the whole thing together? Or do we just continue this chat and then call it and then I'll do the content separately? Your call, guys. I caught a bit earlier and there's some news in it. Yeah, I figured there would be. I figured there would be some news, which is why I'm asking the question. Do it all together, says Luna. Do you know what? I'll do this as a poll because I think sometimes people are not massively comfortable. Should we watch the Star Citizen Live ship talk video together today? Question mark. There we go. That's the question. That's what I'm asking. In the poll, what do we think? Together says Teapot. I'm currently cooking. Currently, Stephen says, fine to watch it with you. Jambo says, keep talking, badges, and we'll watch it with you afterwards. Awesome. Let's watch together, says John. Wait for the VOD and watch together. Okay. So, I'll keep an eye on it then. I've got it in the background. They've been going for about an hour and 32 minutes. Crazy, crazy individuals. But yeah, they've obviously had a lot. I mean, it'll be interesting to see, and you know, kind of, I guess, don't spoil it, but the sort of questions that were asked, or will be asked, you can go on Spectrum and have a look at straight away. Let's have a look. General. So they obviously do it by rank. So the sort of questions that will have been asked is, can we please get a ship silhouette video? Execute asked that one. Nice. Will the RSI Galaxy enter production? Will ships like the Perseus ever get missions with scalable payouts to actually encourage multi-clue? Drake Clipper, what will it be able to craft? Kind of not a ship thing, but yeah, sure. Can you separate docking and hangar requests? I think everyone wants the answer to that one, right? So yeah, I need something to watch anyway since I have to start cooking soon, says Ruboy. Eve Inspiration says, one can be very unethical with supplying drinks to not my kind of ships either. No, absolutely. So yeah, there's certainly a lot of stuff in there that is kind of, it seems useful to us. It seems like it's going to be kind of useful and you know, relevant. So we'll wait. I've switched across to this. So as soon as they shut up and stop talking, but it's not. I don't believe yet it's a VOD that I can go back and check and watch, and it's got to complete, right? If I remember rightly. Oh, maybe not. Ooh, no, I think I'm gonna go. Hello, Nemoticon. Good to see you. No, it's not letting me. I'm clicking. Oh, hang on. We might just be there. Bear with me. There will be a slight pause whilst we're figuring out what on earth is going on.
Never what it's going to be. Open development.
There you go. Hello, Nemoticon. Yeah, all good. Thank you, mate. It's all good. If it's on YouTube, you can go back. If it's on Twitch, you can have a wait. Yeah, it's twitching at the minute, and then I would imagine there'll be a pause because they'll need to then upload it to YouTube and all that sort of stuff. So it's probably best that we just watch the Twitch VOD back once that's live. But again, they're still asking questions. They're still going through it, which is fine. It means we can keep talking about all the other stuff that's going on at the moment. Yeah. So if you had to guess, then what would be your top 3 picks for the war bonds that we are, or oh, good lord. Oh, I tell you what, I'm going to switch to my desktop. I'm going to tell you where this is because I've been here. I've got that Windows thing on where it just switches the desktops to random pictures. I'll tell you where this is, though. Here's a random thing. That is in Lucerne in Switzerland, I reckon. I reckon that's where it is. I know that because just out of shot on the left here was the first restaurant my ex-wife and I went and ate at. So that is there. I think that's Lucerne. Lucerne in Switzerland. Ta-da! See? Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, really, really nice. Went there just before Christmas, so it was all snowy and cold, and there were Christmas markets and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, completely random, not Star Citizen related, but there you go. The good thing about watching with you, Jambo Tech says, is that we can get your opinion on their answers as it happens. Yeah, and that's the thing about it not being live is you get to pause, talk, and then keep going. Although I'll try and do it like between questions, if that makes sense, or between answers, so that it's not constantly being interrupted. because I know that frustrates me when it happens like that. But yes, very very cool. I'm pleased. It's an awesome place. The only problem is that where that photo was taken, kind of on your right, and just over your right shoulder, there are huge mountains, absolutely beautiful in all the photos. Problem was, at the time of the year that we went, there was so much low cloud and mist and stuff. We never actually got to see them because it is genuinely, I was like, it's one of those winter wonderlands, even though it's Switzerland, so it's south a little bit. Yeah, it is. The altitude and stuff makes it like that. But yeah, absolutely beautiful. Walked across that bridge. That's really cool. That's brought back some nice memories. Um, and oh, of course, it reminded me about the ex-wife as well, which is not so nice, but there we go. Everyone's allowed a momentary madness, right? That's okay. Right? We can be nuts for a little while. Okie dokie. So yeah, so again, what would be your top three picks then for war bonds? If you could have anything, or what do you think is coming? What are we gonna get during finale? Do people think ones are coming back? Do people think that we're going to get brand new ones? What would people's picks be? Is it really awesome or oxygen deprivation? Not high enough for the oxygen deprivation, thank God. So yeah, not that high. But they're going out in the cold. You know, you're all wrapped up. You got your scarf and your hat and your woolens, your mittens and all that sort of stuff on. And then you go into the market, and there's places that serve hot glühwein, and you just go out and you stand out, and they've got like heating lamps out as well. So there's just like little huddles of people, and you end up talking to some random people, all just huddled up, like drinking warm alcohol in a cold place. It's absolutely brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And what I really like about this place, I guess, because Switzerland's really damn expensive, is it's not like the Brits on holiday, everyone gets drunk and smashes the place up. It's actually quite nice and cultured and all that sort of good stuff. So. Uh, Galeron Runner thinks there's an Aegis surprise. No clue why, but I think it's being last for a reason. So yeah. Which answer was that on the MDC, John? I didn't see you. Was that before the taquitos comment? The last thing that I saw you say, John, was let's watch together. And then you said a taquito through the screen. And then you said, be right back, gonna make some taquitos. I can't see what it was you said about the MDCs. You might need to resend it. So yeah. Last time the Taurus was a one-off and didn't return, and I called it. This time I'm not sure. Interesting. Paid $7 for a gas station coffee once in Switzerland. Yeah, it's rough. You've been to Austria? Not been to Austria. It's on my to-do list. It's not near the top, but it is on my to-do list. Um, so yeah, going to Arizona sounds like a really good idea. Hint hint. So yeah, there we go. Otherwise, I kept one of the makers with a new ship for last. Just there was a new thing to buy. Yeah, I guess what they're looking at is the last couple of days. You've got whatever weapons and armor sets they come up with, if they come up with anything new. You've got the new war bond deals, and it's not like they're struggling for cash right now. I mean, they've just had a bumper year, but like we said, 12%, and we've still got uh, the rest of the show and whatever gets released in December, if there is a release in December to go. So yeah, surprise reclaimer rework would make my year, says Bingo. It could well be a rework, I guess. I don't know. I think, and this is the beauty. I often talk about for us as for content creators, right? Sometimes there are some really easy stances to make. This is one of them. I get to sit here and say, I don't think it's going to be one, right? And if I'm wrong, it's like, oh no, a new thing to buy. However will I cope? There's something else being added to the verse. This is awful. And then if I'm right, I was right. However, there is another reason that I'm doing this, and it's the tempering of expectations, right? Is how many times have we seen things in the game hyped up and, oh, this is going to come and that's going to come. Case in point, the Hermes. Now, the Hermes might arrive tomorrow, but if it doesn't, the Hermes will become this long-standing, oh my god, it's going to release, it's going to release, it's going to release. Anyone remember the Miss Raptor? Anyone remember that? CRG are not above misdirection in and of themselves. Now, the fact that there's been nothing about Aegis might be the misdirection. But we've seen with any big releases, stuff leaks. There are very few ships that make it out that no one knew was coming. In fact, I can't recall the last time there was a what is this? No one's ever heard of it. There's been nothing leaked. There was nothing in the game files. Blah 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 blah. The other thing that I would say is, the only thing that maybe lends some credibility to the idea that it's either a rework or the Javelin is the fact that it's already in game. So people might not be looking too closely at those files and spot the changes. That might be the only way that they get away with it. But again, I don't think that that is the case. I'm just saying that it might be something that kind of lends a little bit credibility to that. So yeah. People saying they'd love a Retaliator rework, they'd love a Reclaimer rework, Area around Innsbruck, Awesome Mountains. Absolutely. To look at, not necessarily to walk up, as you can see. I'd like a warbond on the Arastra and Hammerhead. I want a discount of 56% at the minute. Yeah, interesting. Someone else, Irelandware, welcome in. Kalnor, welcome in. Potentially Hammerhead's another rework that might be happening, because we know that's in the works anyway. Although the fact that we didn't get the Aurora, and the Aurora is probably much less of a rework than the Hammerhead is, again, makes me question whether or not I think I'm going to see that. The Jav could be, since the elevators a few days ago were messing up at Horizon, showing them coming from the Javelin Tour. There's been a Javelin Tour, I think, at Horizon. Like, it's been on those elevators for ages. I seem to remember. I don't think that's a new thing. I think it's kind of on and off ever since ILW first did it. So yeah, I've definitely seen it at different places. Might not be Horizon, but I have seen it at places where it says Javelin Tour and you click on it and nothing happens. So again, not entirely sure that that's leading the way that people are kind of maybe hoping, expecting, whatever the words are for it to go. Oh my god, guys! Like, this is awesome because they're having a nice long chat about ship stuff and answering all the questions. But it is now an hour and 44 minutes of Twitch stuff. Guys, holy cow! And this is. I mean, I kind of forgot that I was going to do it, and that's probably a good thing because we'd still be there doing it now and then trying to either pause that to do the to look at the ship release stuff or not pause it or whatever. So yeah. Badges, the Aegis still isn't buyable in game. It came out 6 months ago. Do you think it'll be buyable in game? If so, when? I don't know. I think it's going to stay. I think it's going to stay hull limited. Do I think it's going to stay hull limited? Good question, Squall. Yes. So there are very possibly points where they're going to look at it and go, we can sell the Idris in game now. Obviously, we didn't get the Idris as a best in show ship because they didn't want people to just be able to go and release them. I also think there are massive problems at the moment with how you price a ship like an Idris in game. I think that's very problematic. We can see from the prices of other stuff and how much certain ships have moved and been adjusted. Like, how do you price a ship that big and yet still make it feel attainable in game? I mean, there are some people out there sitting on huge amounts of cash, but if they turn around and go, that thing is 3.5 billion UEC, most people can go, oh well, we're never gonna earn this in game. Oh my god, this is rubbish. Like, they say earn in game, but really they just want to make you buy it. So I think for the moment, it's probably CIG are kind of avoiding a bit of a, for want of a better phrase, a bit of a shit fight by not releasing it now, getting it slightly wrong. They've obviously got to price it at quite a high price point because the reason they didn't give one away for everyone to try for free for a limited time with the best in show stuff was because they knew it would crash the servers and the servers just wouldn't be able to deal with that weight of ships. So you can't make them very affordable because you have the same problem. So they need to make it quite expensive. Cue the whinging. You know, all those people who only play it for about, you know, kind of 8 hours per patch will then go, well, I'm never going to earn it. Well, no, not if you play 8 hours per patch, you know. But it's not going to stop them jumping on Spectrum. And then it's not going to stop games media from reading Spectrum and then going, CIG, obviously pricing ships so high that even though they've told you you can earn it in game, it's unattainable. So I think the Idris is going to be a much longer, maybe 1.0, because it's going to get rep locked as well, right? It's not going to be something you can just buy straight away. So yeah, we'll see. Oh, sorry. There's lots of. Da, 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 interesting. That's not showing up for me, Chavez. I'll have a look at that in a second. Yeah, I'll have a look at that in a second. So that's where we were. Never that went there before this IE. No, so it was ILW. You get the javelin tools. It used to be that big thing when they had the fireworks, and you'd see it come into dock, and then there'd be the tour, and then it'd bugger off again. Happy days for content for you then. Very, very possibly. Absolutely. Chaos, I think it will be in-game from Wicklow. So that's the Idris. Even then. Holy moly. I think it's time I 420 and get some writing in. We'll watch the rest of the stream later. Good luck. Oh, Matt P, thank you very much. I know I've seen that late, so you've probably gone. But good to see you, buddy. Thank you for popping in. It could be expensive and rep gated if they put it in the game. Yeah, that. And that's might be how they make it more reasonable, is rep gating it. Because then you've got to do all the extra work to get yourself there, and then you've got to have the money when you get there to be able to buy it. That sounds more reasonable. The rep gating at the moment, again, is weird. So we'll see. 3.5 billion is fine for orgs. Yes, but that still doesn't sort the problem of it being with of people going, okay, so now you need to crowdfund your ships, do you? Do you see what I mean? So the problem is they've said everything is earnable in game. What they need to do is avoid the appearance of making something so expensive that you can only there's no realistic expectation of getting it. That's how you solve the everyone will have an Idris and Curse the servers issue. The problem is it then creates that image. So I think at the moment, because we don't have rep gated sales at the moment, I think that will be the earliest they'll bring it in, when you start getting rep rewards, or store items locked behind levels of rep. That might be where they start bringing it in. I don't know. At that point, obviously, you need a faction that it makes sense from as well, which sounds like the UEE Navy, or at least something within the UEE, and we don't have that either. The best we've got is CDF. So yeah, the Idris will come once 42 is out and SC and branch with updates. Very possibly. The ship price now is far cheap when you compare to personal gear. Yeah, personal gear went up a bit, didn't it? The problem with that, I think the problem with putting the price of everything up is you just get to this ridiculous inflation thing. Like World of Warcraft suffers this with its stats. Like I've just picked up an item, it's got 19,000 stamina on it. When you're up to that level, it starts to mean nothing, and that's why you do the stat squish. I think you look at 5k, 5,000 UEC as a part of the referral bonus. That made sense going back 5 years, because you could pick up almost an entire suit of armor for that. Now it won't buy you a chest piece. So just making things more expensive in and of itself doesn't work. You've got to make it expensive relatively, not just upping the numbers. And that means things like making missions cheaper, why on earth we're doing missions that have 1 million credit rewards. You don't need to do that, you know. But there we go. You know, the fact that a bottle of drink costs you a couple UEC and then some mags cost 12 doesn't make sense. My money's on Wicklow since that's how the Polaris is. Potentially, although again with the Polaris, I think there's a less of an issue with that running. It's not as intensive as something like the Idris is. The Idris is mental on in terms of like drain on the server and stuff. So yeah. Naro Sushi, welcome in. Do you think it was worthy of the upgrade from Perseus to Polaris? Only you can tell you that. Say that, my friend. It depends what it is for you. On paper, with hobbies and stuff, it's really hard to tell. Without knowing what you're looking for, they don't do the same role. Yes, they both do combat, but they do it in very different ways. It's something I think that you need to answer for yourself. All I would say is there are some warbond stuff out there that you can maybe buy off people to make it cheaper for yourself if you're going to do that. You know, because the only reason I mentioned that, it's $175 from one to the other. Best thing you can do, rent one, borrow one, fly both, figure out which you enjoy most. That's a question for you, I think. I think I will add a 0 to all ships when this goes live. What's that in terms of in-game money or real-world money? You might have to be a bit more specific, Jumbo. So yeah. Marcus, welcome in. I suggest CIG will sell command modules for Ironcards and Caterpillars. There's a lot of money in that. Oh, what, as in stealing other people's stuff? Yeah, it's probably why they won't do it. Monstar, hello. Maybe when you can craft Idris Orgs, can sell them or contract to craft them and make their own prices. That's certainly going to be part of it, I think. I don't think it's much of a drain if they keep the main gun off of it. So, no, so the drain is about the resources it takes to render that thing and have it in the same space and all that sort of stuff. I don't mean a drain in terms of just firing a weapon. I mean a drain in terms of, you know, that's a lot of rendering, that's a lot of server power. There's a reason now we can only now see these ships in after server meshings come in, right? And the 890 jump. They had problems with 890 jumps being spawned multiple times and taking entire servers out, if you remember back in the day. And it's just because of the load that they create in and of themselves. If they're able to set up dynamic server meshing in a way that they can spin it out, so maybe an Idris becomes its own server, or there's a server dedicated to running, you know, a group of them, that sort of stuff. However that would work, then great. These ships become much less of a drain. But we know it's a problem because they stated it's a problem, and they actually said the Idris will not be a you know, a temporary ship for people to loan as part of the best in show stuff. You just can't have it because it's too intensive. So yeah, in game, yeah, absolutely. You would have an initial, oh, this fun thing, but without the gun, it would be useless. But yeah, every time you sell out, you're getting dozens of them being in with each block of sales. And the other thing is, people just abandon them until they figure out the abandonment issues. The thing is, just because someone isn't using it, it doesn't mean it's not draining stuff. It still knows it's there, and once it's streamed in, it's an issue. And if you get a bunch of people leaving them at the same place, that's a huge hit to that server, which can't then go, okay, I need to spin up another server and help out here. And we've seen this time and time again. Look at anything. Go to the Vision Center right now. Go to the IAE, look up in the sky, and look at how many people have tried to get there in their ships. There's just ships all over the place. Now just imagine they're all Idrises and what that would do to the already poor frame rate outside the Vision Center. It's rough at the moment. I just don't think that's going to play. Didn't the Bengal have an own underground railway? Yeah, I think it's got a tram system on it. Yeah, I mean, ships like the Bengal, if they implement it as intended, the Bengal will end up needing its own server sort of thing. They already talked about the culling issue. Exactly that, Stephen. That's exactly it. They should make a mission where one is abandoned, a server-wide mission pops up to kill it and have it nerfed for the kill. I mean, this is what we think is going to happen with the Bengals. They talked about crafting it. Then again, they talked about the battle cruiser being the largest player-owned ship in the game. Does that mean the battle cruiser is going to be bigger than the Bengal? Do they mean that the battle cruiser is the biggest buyable ship in the game? I mean, go figure, right? And the thing is even if they said that, they can always go back and change their mind. They're a company. That this is how commercial companies work. They can always go, do you know what? We said the battlecruiser was be biggest, but we want to add something bigger. So what? So yeah, the Bengal need a full 7 of man, says Alan Dwyer. Alan, you're not wrong, mate. Absolutely not wrong. It will very likely need something like that. I think that's 100% true. Sorry, I've got a loading screen on Star Citizens. Oh, there's a Jesus. They've got to a commercial break. Good Lord, how did you get to a commercial break in proceedings? I don't know. I don't know. The ultimate PvE ship. Yeah, exactly that. So there was some talk, going back to that comment about the server-wide mission, there was some talk about Bengals. If you remember, there was a mission where they found a javelin, and it's in, I think it's the 2016. It was the first time we ever saw the worm, all the way back when. We saw the what's it called, the Valakar, and they said then about the chances are that those sorts of ships, you'll find them and restore them, and they, and then there was speculation about, well, maybe what will happen is that it will be a mission, and every week you fight to overtake it. So whoever owns it must defend it, or whoever wants it must take it over, and then it becomes theirs for a week, and then so on and so forth. So yeah, we'll see. Why did they remove the crash javelin? So there was a crash one. Commercial break to buy more ships. Yeah, they're saying it's like, if you want more of these question answered, go buy another $300,000 worth of ships. Exactly that. At this rate, I'm going to need another round of taquitos, and we've not even gotten to the start of this video yet. It looks like they've gone to 2 hours. I also know I've got it on the other screen so I can jump across, which is why I keep changing color. I'm watching Jared eat on stream, and nothing makes me angrier because he's talking at the same time. If you mute yourself, it's fine. But there's nothing worse than on a stream. I can't. I just can't. If he does that, I am liable to mute it. Yeah, he's talking with his mouth full. Jared, you're not saying, I promise, I don't know what you're saying. I promise you are not saying anything important enough to justify eating at the same time. I guarantee you're not. He's got a plate and a fork there as well. I'm so angry. Why? Why is he like this? Why are you like this? Hashtag refund. Just ask for your money back. I want my money back because Jared is eating with his mouth open and talking at the same time on stream. Finish your mouthful and then talk. I know I sound like people's mother here, but seriously, this curry came out spicy. Nice. Good. That's what we like. Tell me how it is tomorrow morning, mate. Demonstrating new gameplay in SC. What, eating and talking gameplay? I'm done. I'm finished. So yeah, Bengal will be the ultimate roleplay ship. Yeah, absolutely. How is this game engine going to handle bigger ships like the Bengal and beyond? And I think this is the interesting thing, Ruboy, is no one's got a precise answer to that. And the reason for that is that no one's built a game in this fashion before. No one's built a game where the idea is that they'll be able to add and take away servers to improve the load. So the answer is, we don't know. The possibilities are endless. I think the real challenge for server messing, over and above getting it working, the real challenge is going to be on people's internet connections. I think people with fast internet connections versus people with like below kind of current standard connections, or like industry standard connections, are going to have very different gameplay experiences when it comes to Star Citizen. And I know that might worry a couple people, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to worry you guys, but I think that's likely it. Often, when I talk to people who are having problems that seem to be solved for me, the universal constant is, oh, I think they're done. So I'm gonna wait for this VOD to go live. But the universal constant is their connection is less than the one I'm playing on. So yeah, we'll see. We shall see. So Otherwise, says they've amounted to climb a battle between a couple of Bengals and support ships are going to fight it out without having any lag or crashes. Yeah, there's a lot of work to do, and this is the really interesting thing, right? Is that from where we are in terms of um, we're watching this get built as it is. It's very rare that people get to see games in this state. Why am I struggling with my words? What am I trying to say? We don't often see games at this stage of development. And yes, yeah, 12 years. Yeah. I get it. Right? But the reality is that they're not building a canned game. They're building this in a very different way. Will it ever be done again like this? I very much doubt it. But it means that holding it up against other traditional game development, you're comparing apples and oranges. So what we're seeing is the rough version that you normally wouldn't get your hands on. And that's all we are. And I would imagine for them, for many developers, they sit there going, I don't know how we're going to get this to work. I don't know how it's going to play. I don't know how it's going to this, that, and the other thing. Which is rough. But the thing is, there's so much room for improvement. The other nice thing is that traditionally, games are not optimized as far as they can be optimized. They're optimized enough to be able to sell it. Why is that? Because publishers are there going, when are you going to deliver this? When are you going to deliver this? You've got a deadline. Go, 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 go. So polishing it past that is pointless, right? And we can see that. Think of any game that came out with actually dog poop performance, and then all of a sudden they're much better 6 months down the line because they've patched a bunch of stuff. Well, it's because they've dedicated more time to it. But they'll only get that to a point, and that point will be, well, we're governed by the money that we need. We've got a new project, and actually, what's going to make us more money? You polishing a game or optimizing a game for people who've already bought it and not going to put any more money into it, versus the new project that we haven't yet sold that needs to get out and we've got a deadline and blah 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 blah. So I think what CIG are going to be able to do, if you look at the engine as it was back in the hangar module, and you look at what the engine looks like now, this idea of the engine's going to get outdated and stuff, it's just not going to happen. I think they're going to be able to do so much with this, and by the end of it, the engine will be unrecognizable to you, me, and everyone else who started out with this project or who are watching now. So yeah. Phew, I have 5 GB fiber up and down, says Ruboy. I mean, I hope so too, mate. Because if you struggle with that, some of us are absolutely screwed. I can see a couple of ISPs springing up a new internet package just for SC when it releases. There's definitely going to be a sudden surge in demand, I think, in certain quarters. Um, Upgrade Spartan to a Storm, says Galeron. Why not? If that's what you're after, and you're not going to bankrupt yourself doing it. Ruboy says, I'm worried about the game engine. If there's another 10 more years, it's definitely possible the current game engine will be obsolete. So I said that bit without talking about this. I think you look at what it was in the hangar module. And if you want to see an example of this, go call up one of the Reliant series. Go have a look at the Reliant and then compare that to the Perseus. Not in terms of like what it can do in game, just the visuals, just the interior design. Go and have a look. Go and have a walk around, see how far they've come. I think it's going to be fine. I genuinely think it's going to be fine. And actually, it doesn't. If you look at the game they're building, even though other games are going to end up looking better, of course they are. You've only got to look at the photorealistic, like body cam and stuff, to see where things are going. What should be carrying Star Citizen through is its gameplay and what you're able to do with it. Yes, the ships need to look gorgeous. We're already seeing some incredible shots of like from orbit with the clouds and the planet in the background. Do you know what? I'm good with those visuals. It still causes me at times to stop, look at it, and go, "Holy cow, this is incredible." So I'm good with that. So right, let's have a look. Still haven't read that comment on Discord. Something about the storm, right? And the storm would go behind lines and kill MDCs. Yeah, I mean, anything will go down and kind of, anything can be a priority for anything. Can the storm do it? Absolutely. It could be a target for a dragonfly. A two-man team on a dragonfly with railguns. Like, yes, are they going to need to do that for orgs that want to go in and use bombs on a target that are defended by MDCs? Yes, the MDC are a priority, absolutely, and the storm is one way of dealing with that. Sure. There we go. Level of detail in Star Citizen absolutely incredible, says Ruboy. Yep, absolutely. I get better frame rate in SC than I do in Borderlands 4, just saying. That's crazy. Right, I think I've got the video now to a point where we can potentially watch it. So if that's what we're going to do, I'm going to scoot us across like this. We're going to watch this, and I'm going to mute myself so I can have a drink quickly. But there we go. I mean, possibly, question mark. You'd have real problems with arcs that you don't have on ground, though, right? Just come at the MDC from below. But it's an interesting argument for defense mines, right? Is if you could have a defense mine that instead of blowing up is basically like an automated turret in space that you can drop and recover. Sure. Right. Let's give this a go. Let me know if you can hear it, okay? There's nothing happening, yes.
Change the scene. Change back. There you go. We haven't done this in a while.
Well, we can't hear it, can we? Is it just me that can't hear that, or is that you guys as well?
Hi, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. They couldn't get me the pumpkin pie in time, so. And, I mean, I love you guys, but you're pumpkin pie. You guys don't have any pie?
I've had mine.
No pie.
No pie.
Just me.
You guys don't really do pumpkin pie here, do you?
No, we carve pumpkins and
Pumpkins go out once a year.
yeah.
I had a fascinating conversation with the rest of my team about that actually, because back home we used to carve turnips instead,
Oh,
because you couldn't get pumpkins in the supermarket, like big pumpkins,
Oh,
you just
okay.
couldn't get them. So you used to get the biggest Swede that you could, carve that out. And that's what you'd use.
they just charge twice as much for those nowadays.
Nowadays, yeah, they used to be a dime a dozen.
No. The Studio Experience team, delightful that they are, went to Costco, because we still have a Costco here, and they came back with what they approximated was an American Thanksgiving meal, which was pumpkin pie, red vines, crazy delicious.
Not Twizzlers.
Not Twizzlers.
Are they not?
Get the F out of here with Twizzlers.
They-
No, red vines and Twizzlers are not the same thing.
Twizzlers are solid.
Not even close. Eventually. I'm your host, Jared Huckabee. And if you've never seen Star Citizen live before, well, it's usually where we take about an hour out of our week and talk about all manner of things related to the ongoing and continuing development of Star Citizen. Today,
still
we're
welcome
going to go a little bit extra because we haven't done a show in a while.
I'm
Let's see if we can't
fighting
make
the
up for
rage
it
of listening people
and
to eat on stream.
answer as many questions from the community, as many questions from my own curiosity as we can. Joining us on the show this week are three members of our esteemed vehicle content team. We'll go ahead and start here immediately to my right. Tell everybody who you are and what you do, John Crew.
I'm John Crew. I'm the vehicle director. So I look after the whole pipeline of all the content, all the teams, all the studios.
So everything related to a vehicle is your fault.
Correct.
Exactly that, Nemo.
Most things, though.
Yeah.
Ben, who are you and what do you do?
I'm Ben Curtis. I am the vehicle art director. So I look after the visual side of the vehicles, I guess. Make sure they look as good as they fly.
So if you don't like how they look,
Yeah, that's my fault.
it's all his fault.
Everything else, though, is...
Yeah. If you didn't care for the fin on the L21.
Yeah, that's my fault.
Oh no.
Outed.
So I'm going to get it
Absolutely
out.
outed.
And Mark, who are you and what do you do?
My name's Mark Gibson. I'm the lead vehicle content designer, and I make sure what John wants to happen actually happens.
And when do you start doing that job?
Probably in the new year.
Tazda in chat says, question, should I have bacon and eggs for breakfast or beans and toast? Bacon and eggs.
Bacon and eggs.
Bacon and eggs. Beans and toast.
Or both.
No.
Yeah, both.
The better question is, how do you do the eggs?
I'm a simple man. I like scrambled.
See, I always want to do them fried, and then when they go wrong,
Just wasting time talking about
Eggs.
It's an important topic.
in all
Well,
fairness,
maybe they
we
didn't
did
do a
say we
full
were gonna
2
ask
hours
community
talking about
questions,
ships,
and
right?
that
Maybe
was
most of it was talking about
that was a community.
in the nicest possible way,
That was a community
boys.
question.
Utter
So,
bollocks.
all right. So this show's going to be a little different. We're gonna do some general chat. We're gonna talk about some high level things that I think are important first, and then we are going to get to the
Ship talk,
community
apparently,
questions.
Pilgrim.
Like I said, it's going to be a longer show than normal. I can't tell you precisely how long, but there's a lot I want to talk about. We haven't been on the air for a while,
Yeah.
CinemaCon notwithstanding. So I got you guys here. I came in on Thanksgiving. We want to make sure that we get the most out of this time. So let's start with some general conversation, some general stuff about ships in general, the project and whatnot. I want to start off with this year. This year, if my math is correct, and please, you guys correct me if it's not, you have now delivered 27 vehicles this year. So my question is,
Holy shit.
WTF? Like, how did this happen? And what's this change been like?
It's been pretty full on. So at the start of the year, we
It's
talked
like-
about doing
Zoom in
this
for the
year of,
trauma.
quality of life and content. So we sort of knew we were going to be working at this pace
Hey,
ahead of
Ravenfall, good
time.
to see you.
We knew that there was a lot of content to fill, a lot of ships to fill. I think we've done a pretty good job of that. Big thanks to not just the team that works on the ships, but all the supporting teams, like all the people who do the web pages and the marketing art and the trailers and economy side, QA, everybody, because it's all just a big group effort, especially to do it at that scale. Like, it's the most we've ever done in any year.
Yeah.
Last year was 20, I want to say 23 or so. So even more this year is a big improvement. But yeah, it's not gone without its challenges, but I think we've done pretty well on there.
Yeah, I think I'll be honest. I lost count of how many we've done this year. It's been
Yeah.
a lot. I think the kind of like the transition to the like the monthly releases and everything. It's it's been full on, but I think we've kind of weathered it pretty well. I think there's been no secret that we've been kind of expanding the vehicle team a little bit over the last couple of years, and we're kind of starting to, I guess, see some of the benefits of that.
They're hitting their stride
I think
for
we've
sure.
also kind of, or I guess we're still in progress of kind of like changing some of our processes and how we kind of tackle ships. That has kind of allowed us to speed up. Our concept team's grown. Like, everything has kind of grown a bit to allow us to kind of get a little bit more kind of throughput. I think it has been a challenge, but I think I think the team are in a pretty good place with what they're able to deliver and the speed and what we can deliver. We've ticked off a few big ones, ticked off a load of small ones, and it's kind of finding that balance of getting through some of the big ships, but also still being able to deliver a whole bunch of kind of new and exciting ones as well.
Finally getting the Idris out the door.
That emoticon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, some of that stuff. We kind of got to thank some of the other teams on the other project that have helped us with that kind of side of things. But I think it's been a busy year, but it's been a good year. Like, everyone's come to the end of it. And it's like, do you know what? I'm very proud of what the team's delivered.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, and it's been reflected.
So there's that. Yes, they've done a really good job of kind of advancing, and I guess we'll if they don't kind of add a lot of detail in this, we'll fast forward to the questions, right? But just something I want to say about that is what's really interesting is they have a backlog which they've knocked down quite considerably. No concept ships means that they've only worked through the backlog this year. They've expanded the team and they've sped up the processes. So not only are you faster with the same process because you have more people, it's like a double whammy, right? More people makes it faster and speedy processes make it faster. Either of those in isolation would make things move quicker. The question is then what happens when they start clearing and they go, hey, the only ships we've got in the backlog are stuff that's gameplay blocked. So, like the Starliner Genesis, we can't bring that out because we don't have passenger gameplay yet. And we got nothing else to work on. Is this stealth indicating an intent to massively ramp up the number of ships that they sell? Or is this to cover the gap before Squadron 42? It's an interesting question, and one maybe they'll answer in a bit.
In every metric, our daily average users are way up, our concurrency is way up.
Hey, Sebastian.
And I think some of that stuff as well, to be fair, is we can't lay claim for that. Like some of that side of things,
every day is a Passage Day.
The plan at the beginning of the year for the year of kind of stability improvements, I think, has meant that there's more people want to play and they want more ships to play with. And so, the kind of work of some of the other teams outside of the ships that have kind of helped with that side of things.
So I want to follow up with another question. So 27 ships. About how many were from the backlog? My next question is, there's this question that always happens. We're just going to jump right into it, guys, here. The decision between making a brand new ship that nobody's ever heard of, straight to flyable. And by the way, you missed the fact that not a single concept ship this year.
Yeah.
This is our first year we've done entirely straight to flyable or backlog ships.
You've said it again, so that's it.
The era of selling
No concept ship
JPEGs or
coming
whatnot,
tomorrow.
as the folks on the internet like to say.
Well, tomorrow,
done.
sorry. Not next year, tomorrow.
Where was I going with this? Oh, but the choice between the backlog ships, like how does that work? There's folks out there who are obviously waiting on their Banu Merchantman for however many years. I think it's almost 12 at this point, and stuff like this. Versus getting a brand new ship like the L-22 or whatnot. How do you make these decisions?
As we've said this a few times, but as you say, always someone's first show. When it comes to the backlog ships, quite a few years ago, we decided that we're not just going to release ships that just don't have their gameplay loop, or like their main gameplay loop. And for a lot of those older backlog ships, they rely on features or gameplay loops that just simply aren't in the game or won't be in the game within the period of time it's going to take to make that vehicle. And I can't remember how many backlog ships we did this year, but I know the backlog has gone down because of it. Like, we've not added to it. It's net decreased.
Oh, sorry, John. That's it. There we go. That's a much better place to pause. I did him dirty with that one. So yeah, I mean, backlog ships, just off the top of my head, what have we had off the cards this year? We've had the 2 Apollos, the Perseus has come out. What else have we had off the backlog? Someone help out. So there's 3 ships off the backlog straight away. What else have we had? Maybe if I go... the Stinger, I guess you could argue is backlog, although it's not really, is it? I mean, we knew it was coming, but there was that. Super Hornet, Paladin. Yeah, so they've knocked some stuff out of the park, right? So, I mean, although having said that, the Mark II Super Hornet was announced this year as well, so it's not much of a backlog. But they have knocked some. They've knocked some stuff down, which is kind of useful.
You look at the ones that are left. There is a sizable proportion of those that fall into that camp of they require feature.
That was last year,
loop, and we don't want to start and go through a whole vehicle to get to the end and not be able to release it. We'd rather use that time
talking about the
resources
Legionnaire.
to do other things. So the backlog pool of ships to pull from is relatively slim, so that has to be balanced against. We've got 11.
If you remember, the Legionnaire was on that silhouette video, and obviously we don't have ship-to-ship docking, we don't have hacking, so it can't come out because there's nothing for it to do. So yeah.
In patches this year, we will want to have a ship in every patch. We've got Fleet Week and IAE, which we need to have a lot of ships in. So it's always a back and forth of shiny new content, upgrading older content with gold standards, and then delivering backlog ships.
So that's a good answer, and like I should say we have answered it before, but it's important to continuously reiterate this again. It's the first show, and sometimes people just don't pick it up from the first time. It's while we don't always succeed. Obviously, the Clipper just went out. It's got a fabrication station in there. Crafting is not in just yet. Whatnot. There is a certified and deliberate effort to only make ships that come with their gameplay whenever possible. So and that's a major factor in why we make certain ships versus some other ships. While making 27 ships this year, and while working down the not adding to the backlog with no new concept ships, while cutting down the backlog with delivery of those ships, you also, I think everybody's aware at this point that we're on the cusp of releasing finally our first version of engineering. Like, we have been talking about engineering so long. The first time we mentioned it, I was dressed as a vampire. Like that's how long it was pre-pandemic, and we are on the verge of finally delivering this first version of engineering. We're currently shooting for December, before the end of the year. But obviously, this has been a massive undertaking for your teams, because you have to go back, and as we're approaching nearly 200 ships now, not just convert the old ships to work with the new system, adding components and stuff like this, but making sure you build the new ones with this in mind. How's that been?
That's been crazy. It's a huge amount of work, and it isn't just they finish the feature, here's how you do it, off you go. We work with them to do the prototypes for it as well, so we actually test out and implement it on normally a test vehicle that gets chosen. But then to go back, because we've been developing ships for 8, 9, 10 years at this point, it means that how we've set stuff up over the years has changed as well. So how we have to deconstruct and then reconstruct it to work is different depending on when the ship was released. So on top of having to actually get the ships out and release all the new content, any downtime is spent a combination of either bug fixing, quality of life for existing ships, or doing all of this feature support. Right now, the entirety of the vehicle design team is off doing tweaks and changes to improve how features coming out in December feel and experience, and we're actively making changes from what we thought it was going to be to what feels better and is a better experience. Literally right now, the team is sat doing it, probably listening to me talk about them as well.
Yeah, I think that's part of the challenge is even like simple things like making sure the ships have got fire extinguishers. Like, we've known that's been coming for a while, and we've been adding them to a lot of our ships. As soon as we kind of knew that was coming on, but we didn't necessarily know exactly how that system was going to work, and we had no real way of kind of like testing it. So really now, a lot of the time is you think, oh yeah, well most ships got fire extinguishers, it's fine, but we still need to go through, test them all, make sure they all work, realise that, oh, actually, there's a bit of collision that is a tiny bit too big, that looks fine, but we had no way of testing it. And it's those sort of little things that kind of catch you out. On the art side, we're probably in a better place because, our side is less impacted by it. I think it's really kind of the design and the setup side that's kind of weathering the...
For engineering, there's a lot goes into it that players just don't see. We could spend 2 hours talking about how we do it, but essentially and we've been doing this process under the hood over the last 18 months, 2 years?
Yeah, near enough.
Basically stripping out the old item pipe system, replacing it with the resource network. That was a lot of manual labor to do that. Mm-hmm. And the way that's been in the game since before 4.0 has just basically been all the items just automatically connected themselves. That was just to get the system in, functional.
Shit, sorry, lol. It was going to happen once, right? It's been ages since I've muted myself. I just had to remind you guys that it was still me. So there we go. There we go. You don't read lips. Well, start, Turkey. God damn it. So yeah, so what I was saying was this is really reassuring to know that they've been working on this for a while, because 200 ships, resource networks to be designed, tested, implemented, physicalized, put in so that they can be damaged for variants as well as just based on each hull. Holy cow. That's a lot of work to be done, and it will affect variants. For example, looking at the Golem and the Golem Ox, you've got the mining laser at the front. For the Ox, you've got the tractor beam at the back. Some ships have tractor beams, some don't. So some variants will have utilities, some won't. There's a lot there for it to be working on and kind of being done. So yeah, there's a lot for them to kind of look at, and it's nice to know that they've been working, because it means more of the backlog than maybe we would initially expect is being cleared. So there we go. Right.
And now we've been doing the passes of actually physically linking all the items correctly to the relays. So people will have seen in larger multi-crew ships that have released the last 2 years, physical relays, physical items, and it's literally connecting up the resource network for those. So when you have a ship that has an engineering screen, you can see all these connections, you can manage it. And for the initial release, everything will support engineering. It just comes in different sort of stages. It's obviously, everything has to work, step one.
Ideally.
Ideally.
Well, is that the requirement?
Yes.
It's not always a guarantee.
Not always a guarantee.
Let's just be real. It's not always a guarantee.
But obviously, a single-seater is less work and less requirements than, say, the Polaris, where a single-seater, you have the ability to repair your items through the MFD, and that's our sort of fallback case for a ship that doesn't have physical components. You could be able to do that gameplay from the cockpit, from an MFD, and then as we go through the ships, physicalizing all the items, adding engineering screens. Again, not every ship will have an engineering screen because it just doesn't make sense to do that.
No.
You get more and more of that gameplay unlocked, but it's not like if a ship doesn't have physical components, it's way better than one that does for the gameplay. They both get impacted the same.
Mr. Mal0 in the chat says, what about armor? Well, yeah, it's coming too. So engineering's been on Tech Preview for a little while. It was on Tech Preview
So
without
is
armor.
the heat death
When
of the universe,
they
Jared.
just finished the code check-in. I was talking to Torsten earlier today. When it returns to PTU, I think tomorrow, the day after, as soon as the build is where it needs to be, armor. The first version of armor will be in as part of engineering, and it's going to dramatically change the balance between ballistics.
You what? Did everyone just hear that?
Today, when it returns to PTU, I think tomorrow, the day after, as soon as the build is where it needs to be, armor. The first version of armor will be in as part of engineering, and it's going to dramatically change.
The first version of armor will be in with engineering. Holy shit. That's
The balance
kind of
between
big news.
ballistics and lasers and all that stuff.
Different tiers of ships and everything.
Oh.
So it's just fundamentally different
Yeah.
how combat's going to play out.
Yeah, it's now you're now going to have this choice. Sure, I can use lasers if I want to peel down the shields and then melt the armor stuff, or if I know where the shield generator is and I've got ballistics, I can punch right through that and take those out faster. It's like that. It's going to be a real interesting challenge and change to combat. The more you know these ships, the more effective you're going to be and stuff. And then of course, continuing changes to flight model. The flight model will make that better and stuff as time goes on.
Yeah, well, it also massively benefits people actually taking larger crews, because if you're trying to fly it on your own, you can't go around repairing all the like components in the bigger ship. So it encourages you to actually go out with your friends because they stay in the fight a bit longer. It's going to be a huge shift in the dynamic of the multi-crew
Wow,
ships.
indeed.
Yep. So we've got an ISC that'll air next week that we shot with Torsten. It'll go over a bit. When the PTU goes, you'll learn more about engineering from PTU than you will from the ISC as always. And then we're working on a big engineering doc to release alongside 4 or 5 that'll help explain a bunch of the fundamentals and stuff. So we're all shooting to get this out before the end of the year. So we're going to do our best. We've talked about making all the new ships, talked about, the choice between backlog stuff and whether there are still also, there's this other class of stuff. There are still flight ready ships who are still needing their gold standard, their gold standard. So let's explain what the gold standard is real quick. And if you're so inclined, give me a list of what ships are getting their gold standard in 2026. I know it's a when question, but
and then I can't get in trouble.
I'm gonna push for it. I want to know what ships get their gold standard next year.
So gold standard, I mean, it's a term that kind of gets thrown around a lot, but for me, it's about if we were releasing that ship today, making sure it has all the features, all the functionality of a ship that we are releasing that's brand new. So really, it's going through and just kind of like, ticking off all of its components, its physical items, the different interactions, making sure the metrics are correct, and it's really just kind of bringing it up to the gameplay experience that a more modern ship would have. It's less about kind of making like stylistic changes for the.
Yeah. So, in other words, gold standard. All ships that are currently at gold standard will be obsolete as of 4.5 unless they've also had their armor sorted. Right? So that's how that works. Yeah.
Just because you can, I think there's something to be said for kind of keeping a ship's history. Now we have obviously over the last 10 years or so things have improved in how we kind of create the ships. So we do tend to go in and make some material changes. We might relight it and do those sort of things. But I don't really want to go in and take away like the kind of core DNA of a ship. If we're going that far, then I think we may as well do a Mark II or a Mark III or whatever it might be. But for me, gold standard is just bringing it up to the kind of the functionality that we would if we were kind of releasing it today.
Okay, so that's gold standards. There's a lot of questions from the community thread, and we're going to get to that in a few minutes here, about the other ways we update the ships. So there's the gold standard, which you just explained.
Yep.
And then there's an outright rework. You've got. I think it's Polaris owners are now somewhat envious of the Perseus interior. Star Runner owners are looking at the Clipper's second entrance and being like, "Where's my second entrance?" The 600i. Just do that there. Sometimes we do a gold standard. Sometimes we shoot for a rework, and sometimes we do a Mark II, as we did with the Hornet. So talk to me about how the choice between a rework and a Mark II comes about.
So with the reworks versus Mark II, it depends on what we're trying to achieve and whether what already exists actually achieves that. So using the 600i as a prime example, just as a talking point for one, when we made the original 600i, we had a particular vision for how we wanted the interior to be used and laid out, and then as the game evolved, we realized that the interior just doesn't work for what we actually want the ship to be able to do, what we want to achieve, what we want the experience to be while using it. And realistically, if that ship was left in the state that it was, it wouldn't actually fit its role or purpose within the game. So what we want to do is rework something like that. It needs to be taken back and then re-reviewed, and obviously everyone's seen the rework images, the concept board. There's an entire thread on Spectrum where people are keeping track of everything for it that we've ever said and covered. That's the rework. That's when what's there doesn't work. It doesn't need tweaked. It doesn't need things adding. It doesn't need minor changes. It's straight up, it just needs removing and putting back in. The gold standard can sometimes be just bringing something up to scratch. So that's adding, say, the suit locker's missing, or the weapon rack doesn't work, or other features that help the gameplay experience but don't require us to fundamentally change something about the ship. And then the Mark IIs exist, where the Mark I, the original, still works for the rule, but we want to make it bigger and better, but we don't want to get rid of what the original rule was being fulfilled. So if we talk about the Aurora?
Too late.
Too late now.
If we talk about the Aurora, so the Aurora interior, oh man, I'm getting in trouble after this.
Go ahead, Mark. Let's do it.
Okay, so the Aurora is obviously getting the gold, it's not obviously, but people are now hearing the Aurora is getting the gold standard.
If you've been reading the monthly reports.
Is it in the monthly?
Yep.
Thank God I missed that. Okay, so the Aurora is getting the gold standard. So what that is, the interior still mostly works, but there's some tweaks needed to make it work with our gameplay loops. But we don't need to strip the entire interior back. It needs a place to put weapons. It needs a place so you can actually walk inside with storage boxes. It needs a fire extinguisher. We don't need to gut the entire ship. So that's why the Aurora is getting its gold standard. It doesn't need a full rework. And we don't want to change what the Aurora is, because the Aurora's, it's the Aurora. So that's when a Mark II might come along, because we could do something bigger, better, different, something we're more interested and engaged in, something that allows it to be more than what it was, but is something new.
Don't give me this might stuff. You already said it and they already saw my reaction. An Aurora Mark II is coming.
Yeah, the Aurora Mark II is a thing. I'm not going to go into details about it, but it's
I'm quiet, not because I feel like I'm making a point. I'm quiet because I don't know how I feel. Yeah, John was not happy. That was evident. There was the oh fuck moment. I thought he pulled it back and went, oh, the gold standard is in the news reports. Oh, I'm okay then. And it was like, just leave it at that. If you don't want to mention it, leave it at that. I mean, how do you guys think? So obviously we've answered this bit, and there's some people have left and clicked no on their way out on that poll. So I'm gonna pop a poll up because I like these. I like to figure out what you're thinking as well. Because it's... And I'm gonna give you a nod to Space Tomato in this as well, by giving a third option, which is show me what people think. But genuinely, if you've got thoughts, do the thoughts bit. Aurora Mark II. For those that have come in and have seen this already, please don't spoil anything. But we've just got to the point where they've said Aurora Mark II is coming, and we're trying to figure out what we think about that. So 600 question totally dodged. Yeah, they're not working on it. They've said as much. Duncan 40k, hello, buddy. Not a fan of a second round of Mark II Crash Grabber. We'll have to see what it's like, I guess. I mean, we kind of knew it was coming for the Aurora and the Mustang probably as well. They seem so far off the new standard, I don't know you how to update it with a new chassis. Saw this live, says Jock Cop. Awesome. Well, I'll be reacting to it, but I understand if it's like, I don't want to watch this again. It is 2 hours, after all. It's a starter. There's no need for it to be a costly ship anyways. Just make it cheap in game. If all owners get a free upgrade. June copter wings for Aurora confirmed. I mean, it is a flying rectangle. There are so many older ships that need a rework because CIG has learnt so much over the years. I think it would be fair to us, the buyers, to give us the ship we already bought. I don't mind the Mark II as long as the prices are close, says AV, and there is a reason to keep the Mark I, aka balance rather than absolute upgrade. Grey's Aurora will be pretty sweet too. Yeah, we'll have to see how it's implemented. I'd be interested to know how many Auroras are bought not as part of a game package. Right? I think for me, that's going to be because if they go, it's one of the least bought ships. The argument that it's a marketing choice is out the window, right? Because if we go, well, they're just trying to sell more. Okay, let's now talk about all the other ones they don't sell much of, right? The Reliance, for example, hardly see those in the verse. The Razors, all that sort of stuff, right? So, do you see what I mean? I think that's the thing. Star Jump Grim will milk this for a long time. I mean, I'm sure he will. Agree. If there's a cheap option to switch to for the Mark 1, Aurora Borealis Edition, oh, good lord. So let's see what else they've got to say on it.
It allows us to take the DNA of what a Mark 1 is and then expand upon it, make it something different, make it its next generation of itself.
Yeah. If you look at it compared to like, the Hornets,
Just looked at the chat.
the Hornet Mark II and the Mark 1 side by side, you can tell they are both Anvil Hornets, even though they are stylistically very different. They're the same roll, they're the same rough shape, and that's what we want to do with the Mark 1 Auroras and the Mark II. That you look at it and go, that's an Aurora. It does the same rolls, but it's new RSI style.
So, why make an Aurora Mark II? That's from the chat.
Primarily, a big visual upgrade compared to the Mark 1s, but there are so many Mark 1s out in people's accounts. Like, it's one of the most iconic Star Citizen ships. We don't want to just suddenly one day, poof, they all disappear, and you've all got this new other ship that you perhaps didn't want 10 years ago. So it's the same with the Mark 1 Hornets. We didn't get rid of them and replace everybody's with Mark 2s. We want
collector's items.
both can coexist, and yeah, like I say, as collector's editions for.
That, for me, is a good reason to keep them. And he's right. So people will have Auroras because they like the look of the ship. If you then change the look to update it to a more quote-unquote RSI style, some people are going to look at that and go, I don't like it. Take the Perseus, right? Something that a lot of people like out for the look. Let's say they redesign the Perseus. The externals, they redesign it, and it turns out to be something you like less. You kind of want the option, don't you, to keep the original Perseus, right? Same with the Aurora, I guess. The real challenge that I have is with and I forget what his name is, the chap in the back there with a beard. He says, they've all got beards, but he's got a beard! Is the challenge around, he said you want to make it better, and I think some of you have said it in chat as well, about don't just make it this completely invalidates the old Aurora apart from its aesthetics. They need to kind of doing that. Yeah, the Aurora is going to go up in price, 100%. 100%. F7 Mark 1 and 2, there are people that enjoy the Mark 1. That's what I think. And what I don't like is the fact that the Mark 1 went away. The Mark 1 needs to stay. They can't just get rid of the Mark 1. I mean, they can. Of course they can. But they shouldn't. If that's what they're doing they're giving it a more RSI style and keep the Aurora because it's iconic, then keep the Aurora because it's iconic.
I was here back when the Mark 1 was a thing.
Yeah, and as one of our kind of like iconic starter ships, you kind of want,
you know,
it's getting its gold standard to bring it up to what we want that experience to be. And then the Mark II gives us an opportunity to update its visuals to a point that it, like I say, it's kind of like the new generation of RSI. So it gives us the options to do kind of both the making the originals function and play how we want, and also doing a kind of a full visual overhaul as well. And there'll be people out there that will be like, don't like it, I want to keep Mark 1. And there'll be people out there that will be like, Mark 1's not for me, I love the Mark II. And that's a good thing, more options.
So I'm going to say something, and I don't want you to react one way or the other.
Then just don't put the camera on us.
But the opportunity, there's been a fan idea out there for as long as I've been here, well over a decade for what
Aurora
an
with
update
Scorpio
to the
wings,
Aurora
Scorpio swings.
could do. And I just want to know, have you seen it and are you considering it?
What, adding ramps instead of stairs?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
We're absolutely considering ramps instead of stairs, don't worry.
Okay. All right. We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. And we'll go ahead and confirm that's coming in 2026, because why not? It's on the 2026 schedule. First half.
Wow.
Enough.
There's nobody left to get angry at me. There have been a few cargo capacity changes recently. The raft, which was a big surprise. Like I didn't even know about that until it went live, and I'm like, what?
This guy just.
And then a few more coming up in the future with the whole series. The Raylan, which we managed to sneak in there with a little hologram thing, as well as an announcement that it's coming in 2026, which was nice.
Right in 2026.
And I hear
confirmed.
even cargo changes to the Ironclad are probably in order.
Yep.
What can you tell us about these? Yeah.
Let's start with the whole series. They were concepted back
2015
2015
by the great Jim Martin.
by the great Jim Martin. Back then, they were everyone's favorite measurement of cargo, freight units. They
How many FUs a ship
They had
had?
so many FUs. And then it got converted to SEUs. And as we brought the whole
I don't
series
even remember
to the
that.
game, the whole C actually, I think, kept at its original
Pretty
SEU
close.
conversion rate. The hull A was 48 at concept, but we increased that to 64. Again, cargo metrics in our game solidified over the years. It didn't make sense to do this weird 48 because it didn't nicely fit in with the size cargo crates we have in the game. And as part of that, we decided that we want 32 SEU containers to be our largest container in the game. There's not going to be like a magical 64, 128, 256 one. And that sort of has knock-ons for the whole D&E. But I want to talk about the whole B first, in that we've been working on that. And that was 384 SEU at concept. It's now going to be 512. And it can still land
384 to 512. So what's that? A 50% increase? And I'm not talking price. I'm talking about cargo. That's significant. That's why the whole B is going up in price, because it needs to sit more comfortably now within the cargo bracket, and it already wasn't sitting comfortably within the cargo bracket.
with the cargo fully on, planet side, and you can get in and out of it is an important thing. There was a lot of finagling to get that to fit.
We don't have images, and I want to be clear, we don't have images because Ben gave them to me and I forgot to load them up. So you can blame me. But essentially, it went from this to like this in order to...
Yeah.
Should be a concept art, Jared.
Yeah.
We're that to that, and
I
then
paint pictures with words.
Yeah.
slightly longer, but still within the same hangar size.
It was a little bit of a headache, but we tried a lot of different things, but yeah, we got there at the end, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it'll
Interesting. So I don't know if you caught that. So the cargo spindles, instead of being a traditional cross, are more now of an X, right? So she can land without losing stuff off the cargo spindle. So that's very interesting. So yeah, very, 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 very interesting. So she doesn't lose one of the spindles. She doesn't have to retract the spindle to land. She lands like that, and because they're at angles, there's more space for the gear to go down. And she's gotten longer.
be all right. It'll be a nice reveal when it comes. And you're working on it now.
I'll be X-Wing.
That's
Yeah,
all
that's
we'll say about that one.
Holby Scorpius edition.
Did you just say it's coming in 2026?
Yeah, if we're doing this, let's go.
All right.
Holby,
Yeah, the whole B is
2026.
coming in 2026.
Should we just list them all, John?
No.
No silhouettes this year. We're doing this instead.
Yeah, I got a question about the silhouettes. Talk to me about the railing.
Raylan, 320 to 640. People have seen the hologram in the halls and seen a lot of comments about the triangles missing.
Shit, that's a big.
Yeah. So
It's fake news.
yeah, it's not. So the hologram was based off of the game we have in the model we have in game at the moment. We are currently working out exactly what we're going to do with the cargo on it in terms of I want to keep the aesthetics there. I want to keep it as close as we can to the original concept, but I also want to make sure that it works, and like I say, we don't want to end up with these weird shaped kind of cargo containers. So we're trying a few different things. Haven't nailed it down in concept yet. It's kind of in the next couple of weeks we'll start looking at it, but it will support kind of just standard cargo metrics. We will keep the kind of like the visuals of these triangles. They may be like a frame that kind of clasps around it and holds it and kind of moves out of the way. There may be little end caps. Not sure exactly, but it was just a case of we haven't fully resolved that yet. So that's why it's not on there.
Okay.
But it is.
Yeah.
That is still the plan.
I won't go back to the D&E because I forgot to go back to them.
I was going to go back after
Okay.
we did the Iron 2.
Hey,
But
so
you can do it now. We'll sandwich some.
So Railing coming in 2026. The shape of the triangles will stay. It doesn't look like necessarily the SCU boxes will stay, which is interesting because what I thought that they could do was take the boxes and basically cut them on the diagonal, so you could still stack them into squares, and that sort of stuff. But we'll see.
Some bad news in with the good news.
Whole D&E owners, sit down, because this is going to sound like bad news, but it's
That's right.
it's the news.
You look right at your camera there.
Which
There you
one's
go.
this one?
Yep. Nope. Give him the John Crew camera.
Move out the way.
Give him the bad news camera.
Zoom in.
All the way. Your cargo capacity is going quite a long way down. So the D, and I've got my notes here, is going down to 6,912 SCU, which is a lot of SCU. And the E is going down to 12,288 SCU. So, gut reaction, that's a big drop from, I think, 98,000, and I can't remember what the D was.
Yeah.
But for years, people have quite rightly said, this is going to be so boring. I don't want to sit and
So I'm just going
load
to read that. I'm just
3,000
going to go
plus.
back to
So,
that.
your cargo capacity is going quite a long
Just
way
want to
down.
hear that again.
So the D, and I've got my notes here, is going down to 6,912 SCU, which is a lot of SCU. And the E is going down to 12,288 SCU. So, gut reaction, that's a big drop from, I think, 98,000, and I can't remember what the D was.
Yeah.
But for years, people have quite rightly said, this is going to be so boring. I don't want to sit and load 3,000 plus 32
Got
SCU containers by hand,
that.
or even in an org.
Yeah.
Economy-wise, huge concerns. And then performance-wise, also huge concerns. So whilst they have on paper gone down by a big percentage, they are still
The top of the
the
game.
absolute top, and we have no plans currently to have any ships that get anywhere near those. Like, I can't think of one that actually beats the whole C at this point in terms of cargo capacity. So the D&E is still the cream of the crop. Their role remains unchanged as the bulk and super carriers. They're just, their SEU comes down to more reasonable levels.
Yeah.
I'd genuinely be curious to see how long it would take to load a whole E with the original numbers. Like, hand on heart, genuinely curious how long it would take to put that many 32 SUs on it.
Yeah, and we looked at the concept meshes of it, and there's some quirks.
Always work.
They basically add extra spindle for the D and then for the E. But the scaling's all like off, and there was just no way we could even get to those numbers with the current actual cargo metrics. Like, the spindles would have had to have like quadrupled in size. As it was becoming
would look
proportionally
interesting. And obviously, we will revisit the concepts when we kind of get to that point as well, because they're going to need a full pass.
So just talking about that, is anyone upset? Like, not the, oh no 98,000 SCU. Is anyone genuinely bothered by the drop in cargo, or did the 3,032 SCU containers really put people off? Good change, I think, says Stephen. Lots of people saying whole D&E were insane SCU. People are just moulding about something that was never viable. I mean, I don't know if anyone's moulding yet. They've said it. I don't know what the reactions in chat are. They haven't said what the reactions in chat are. I think they've kind of expected people to whinge. But I've got to say, Jotcop said exactly the same. 98,000 SCU for the E was, quote-unquote, fucking ridiculous. That's exactly what it was. and that you won't convince me otherwise. You hate the drop you have a G. That's a shame, Mark. That's it's a shame that you've lost off of it. But obviously, what they're saying is that they are, and I know you probably know this, right? And I'm just rubbing salt into the wound here at this point, probably, and I apologize for that. But if what they're saying is it's not viable in terms of size and it's not viable in terms of server performance, then I kind of get it. Like, I get the disappointment. Any change like that is disappointment. I was disappointed when they stripped the drones out of the medevac and said there's no plans at the moment. I get the disappointment, and I'm not saying you're wrong for being disappointed, and no one in chat will dogpile you for it, will they? But I get it. It seems to be becoming more realistic, but absolutely will make people reconsider their choices potentially. Yeah, I still don't know how long it was going to take you to load that bad boy up, but there we go. Okay, let's see what else they got to say.
It's one of those things. I'm looking at chat here live. I think a lot of people suspected the same thing. It's like the numbers never quite made made sense. They were a mistake back then. Whenever these are ships that are not coming in 2026, but we know the answer now. We know what the correction is. And John came to me, gosh, it was like last week, I think, and said, hey, I'd really like to get this information out there now. There's no reason to sit on it. So I really appreciate you doing that. Back to some better news then.
Likely means less of a price increase.
We're talking about cargo.
Yes, so that's obviously in production. Again, monthly reports, backlog ships are always mentioned in there. We don't keep them a secret. Ironclad cargo capacity, both of them going up. So the base Ironclad was 1,536.
1536.
1536. That's going up to 2,204, and the Assault's going from 1,152 to 1,440.
I see why you got notes now.
Yeah, this is why I have it written down. Again, they may change slightly as we get close to release, but it's that proportional change. Why did that happen?
We reshuffled the inside of it. It was the bulkhead move, and it was changing where the ladders were. So there was, as we went into, when we went through White Box with the actual layout, we then get a good chance to walk around and play and feel what the ship would be like. There were a few changes that happened to the layout and how we were orientating everything. And as things push and pull around a little bit, there's a little bit more space. It made sense to fill it, so we ended up putting a little bit more cargo in there. It's one of those things where there might be a little bit of change. We'll never go down, but we'll sometimes take it up a little. Well, sometimes might go down. We talk about the whole D and whole E. But it made sense for the layout and everything, so just got a little bit more cargo because it made sense to add it, and it looked dumb not being there. Because it looked just like a gap. So
I think that's it, isn't it? When we were looking at it, there was some gaps in the cargo grid, and it's kind of like, if they're justifiable, it's fine. But when there's just a gap, it's just people are just going to shove more cargo in it anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Well, it was just because the ladders moved. Yeah. Originally, there was paths so you could get to the ladders to the catwalks, but because we moved them out to the side, it just didn't make sense anymore.
The Aurora Mark 1 sneak peek image that went out a few weeks ago was sat in the Ironclad's cargo hold as a background, just for a little bit of a.
Oh, we didn't mention when the Aurora Gold Standard arrives.
2026.
2026. It's also coming with all those damn Kickstarter campaign
I've gone
paints.
pretty Sherlock Holmes on some of the old paints and trawling our archives and the internet, trying to find all the details of the paints that.
Yeah. Going back to the original Kickstarter
were
page.
once promised before my time, and
literally some of the oldest outstanding things. One of the reasons I really respect and enjoy working with John and Ben and sometimes Mark is that we can have a conversation at like 11 o'clock at night about how, guys, if we're going to do this gold standard, we really should dig out these paints. We really should dig out, these things that existed before I was here, before you were here, before you were here. Figure out what they are, figure out what's going to take to get them, and do them. And you guys are always down for stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely. If that's something we're on the hook for and deliver, let's just get it out of the way and stuff like this. It's
because I think
it's just nice.
There's 4 that we know what they look like, and there's still 2 or 3 that I can't find any visuals for at all.
No, they never had any visuals.
So yeah, we'll just we'll make something cool.
Mark II coming.
All right. And finally,
Gold Pass for
before we
Mark
get to
I
the player
next year.
questions portion of this show, the last question that's from me. Every other question for the rest of the show is from you folks. What was my question? We didn't do a silhouette thing for Sysagon Direct this year, mostly because the 2 of you are lazy, I suspect.
Didn't ask one.
So we didn't do a silhouette. We're not going to do one here today.
Do it live.
Don't get that hand shapes.
There's a whiteboard. I'll just drag it over. We'll start doing silhouettes.
Shadow puppets.
Everything for 2026.
There are still 2 outstanding ships from that silhouette of things that were supposed to come in the next year.
Legionnaire and
Go ahead. We've already revealed. We've already said the Aurora Gold Standard is coming next year. We've already said the Aurora Mark II is coming next year. We've already said the. I almost revealed.
Not that easy, is it, Jared? When there's so many of them.
Tell me what those 2 ships are.
There's actually 3.
It's actually 3.
There's actually 3. So everyone thinks it was the MTC silhouette, but it was actually the MFC, which Ben announced in the MDC video yesterday. Yeah. So that's the crafting version.
That's the fabricating version of the
mobile fabrication.
Yeah. So basically, it's got it swaps out the rear section for a crafting section. Opens up.
With some lovely images again.
Okay.
Yeah. Does this. Just imagine the back.
It goes up like that.
It kind of adds a little bit of like shielding, so you can get to your crafter if you're under attack and reload.
Chris would be so proud of us, right?
Yeah, I know, it's brilliant. It's basically how I deal with my team. It's just this.
It's the classic art director gif. Of just move it.
So yeah, we've got that.
The big Anvil Atlas chassis one is the Auxilia.
Yep.
Which is, if you like the Clipper, it's basically that in an Atlas ground vehicle chassis. So it has a crafting machine, same dimensions as the one in the Clipper, and a tier 2 medbed in it, in a big hulking great.
It looks really cool as well.
It looks really cool.
Yeah.
VW camper van confirmed by Drake, the Auxilia. I know a lot of people have been talking. They've obviously been listening. VW camper van confirmed. Crafting station, medbed, vehicle. Ground vehicle. And I don't know how I feel about that, but there you go. That's big news.
Nice little kind of forward operating base.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Yep.
Yeah. One person, drive it in, and you've got your little respawn and crafting and everything.
Keep trying that bunker mission.
Yeah. And then the last one, a lot of people correctly guessed was a Glest. Guest was a consolidated Outlands ship, and that is, I think, currently called the Forge. I don't know whether we're going to keep that name or not. And you can guess from the name what it does. It's another crafting ship. It's basically a small to medium-sized solo ship with a whacking great crafting machine, bigger than the ones people have seen in the Clipper and other ships. And it also has an onboard refinery, so you can refine goods to make your things you are crafting or fabricating. And then 11th hour request for it as well was, much like the Pioneer, it's super big brother. It also has ground extractors in it, so you can land on a planet and extract the resources to refine, to use for your crafting.
And I mean, with that
Ground
one, we
extractors.
were fairly early with the concept when we kind of paused it.
Yeah.
The concept's super cool. It's got this amazing kind of like slab front kind of glass canopy to it.
Full width flat glass.
Yeah, full width flat glass. So it was a really cool looking ship. Can't wait to pick it back up. But I don't know if we'll end up doing.
Yeah, that's very
We'll
cool.
end up tweaking it.
Yeah. We'll see.
Again, it's got a, like we talked about earlier, we don't want to do things that we're not confident that the gameplay is going to be there in time for its release. And it got a few extra things added to it than when we started the concept for it. So then that's obviously pause it.
And obviously, if it hasn't been apparent now, the reason those didn't come out last year is because crafting didn't come out last year.
Yeah, and you know, it was on the production schedule, but we knew ahead of time enough that we were going to end up with a ship that didn't have the gameplay, so we pulled that out. I can't remember what we put in its place, but we released something else in its place.
So is crafting coming in 2026?
It's above my pay grade, so you need to.
Ask that team.
We're going to try. All right.
Wow. There's some
There's a good
news in
question
this, boys.
in the chat. I lost it.
Ready.
Oh, well. You know who you were.
It's because you're eating, Jared, and not focusing
So
on
let's
what
jump
you should be
into the
doing.
questions from the community.
Focus.
So the next 30 questions or so are entirely from members of our player base, and we've grouped them into a couple different subjects. Let's start with some Perseus questions. We'll start with the questions related to our 6 currently new vehicles at IAE. And the first question, and these are generally in order of what they were voted up most that could actually be addressed. Will you be adding gravitational plates to the outside walkway of the Perseus?
No. It
Next
was
question.
Yeah, next question. There's a lot of people love those areas that you can walk around outside of the ships. There's some really fun, annoying bugs and technical consequences from it that happen as a result of basically abusing the setup to get that to function. And for the Perseus, we really just wanted it as this planet side, like I've landed on a planet in my Perseus, and then I've got this nice little balcony on the side of it that I can go out the rear bridge airlock door and then just survey the land and defend the ship from.
Yeah.
It's not to
That's
say that
exactly
we
what
won't ever
Strike is
explore
balcony.
some gravitational
there's-
plates on the
there's-
walkways.
Sure,
Back
but
boots.
it's not the physics grid method that we currently use. So we used to have it on the outside of the character to stop people clipping themselves into the back of it and stuff. It's not what that system's intended for, and there's way too many consequences as a result of using it.
All those people hoovering up transport shuttles and asteroids with the front of their 890s and Carracks and things like that.
It's their fault.
It's their fault.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Okay. Why is the Perseus pilot? Why does the Perseus pilot have control over the ship's torpedoes when the Polaris pilot isn't allowed to use the torpedoes? There's a lot of questions from some rather salty Polaris owners who see the Perseus and like,
Because
Why
the
not?
Perseus doesn't have size
So,
fucking 12 or whatever.
what's the deal
it is
with the torpedoes
torpedoes.
there, Mark?
I'll let John give the good news.
Oh,
It is good news.
it is good news.
no.
So
Don't say
in 4.5, we're going to allow one of the bridge stations. We were talking about this last night. Which
We
one was it?
went for the gun, not the missile.
The gun one, not the missile. So the back right station of the Polaris bridge will have torpedo control as well now. It's, as you can imagine, you can use it from there. There's still a reason to go down into the depths of the ship to use it because you then get that 360 camera, and it also has a much larger queue of missiles from there.
Yeah.
So how many did we settle on there? 8?
8. So can I queue up 8
So
at
if you want
once?
to bankrupt yourself, go down to the basement of the Polaris and queue up 8
What are you
torpedoes.
shooting at?
Something you don't want to exist. So yes, we do want to,
Something you don't want to exist anymore.
and people will in 4.5 have it. So at least they're on the bridge together doing things. Why not the pilot?
Yeah, why not?
Because we sort of want to have some enforced balance there. The Perseus torpedoes are way smaller, way less damage compared to the Polaris ones.
Good.
I think there's this thing. It's like when the Mercury Star Runner owners
it's
look
a
at the
computer
Clipper,
game.
and
It's all
it has a
artificial.
second entrance. It's like this. There's this. It's easy to want every ship to have everything.
Yeah.
It's real easy and completely understandable from a player standpoint. Let's just be real. You have your favorite ship, and your favorite ship can't do something that some other ship does, and that irks. That just makes your brain itch. But this is my favorite ship, and I want my favorite ship to do everything because.
Good point, and we'll come back to that in just a second. Avi says, lol, Idris pilot still gets the torps from the T-kit, doesn't it? Yeah. For now. Just saying.
Because it's my favorite, and this is the last ship I want to fly. But weirdly, that's not exactly great game design. You don't want everybody to just pick one ship, and that's the only ship they ever fly for the remainder of their time in the game, because that becomes boring. You want choice. You want compelling differences between this ship, that ship, and the other ship, and stuff like that. So while there's certainly things that can be done, like adding the control to another station, behind the Polaris and stuff to bring certain things into parity, you don't want this forced equalization of all things.
Yeah, and
So, It says it'll just be hot swapping, yes. So what we're identifying here is stay out of the front arcs of the Polaris. Because if you're on the bridge, they've just said, you won't have the 360 camera. So if it's not in front of you, you can't attack it. Top tip, if the Polaris stops moving, get out of its front arcs and it won't be able to target you. Because they said you'll still need to go down I don't know where you're going. I don't know what that logic is. You could still stop and station swap. It just takes a little longer because you had to go at the front. The upside of doing it from down below is you had the 360 camera. I don't get what the... And if the argument is they'll just move out of the way, yes, to both answers. They'll do it out of the way. Also, they're not justifying shooting 4 size 10 torps because of the Perseus' 2 size 5s. They're saying it keeps players playing together. The Perseus is not the justification for this. Yeah, multiple crew for your multi-crew ship. That's the answer.
Without even looking at the chat over there, I can already tell they're going, well, the Polaris doesn't have this. Why does the Idris pilot get the railgun? And I can see that, and it's a sort of different problem in that if you don't give the pilot of a ship that has a fixed weapon on the front of it control over firing that weapon, it's basically useless. You will never hit anything trying to coordinate between two people with something with such force accuracy. That doesn't mean that we're happy with how powerful that railgun or beam is and won't look to balance that in the future, but it's not justification for the Polaris pilot or co-pilot, because we had also had this discussion of why do we just give it to the co-pilot, the Polaris? Well, then no one will sit in the pilot seat because they'll go sit in the co-pilot seat because they can fly and then shoot the torpedoes at the same time. So it's all sort of a fun multi-layered thing, and it can seem like, oh, they're just ignoring the problem, but there's lots of things to consider.
Yeah, and I think there's loads of balance things, and there's loads of things that we've just learned over time that we could improve on. And we're not saying we're never going to go back and make improvements to ships, but these guys are trying to balance them. So
you just wandered into one of my, I've got my 7 catchphrases, that have developed over the last decade and a half or seven. One of them is that every ship that you guys make is better than the last. I mean, I really truly believe that. There's this idea that it's another really easy idea to fall into, that we just know everything in 2012. We know everything in 2014, we know everything in 2016, we know everything in 2018, that we don't learn from each ship that we make. When the reality is we do, and we should. We should learn from every ship we make. Not Falco, oh gosh, I can't think of his name, when we were talking about the Perseus. Probably. About the signage on the Perseus. We should learn from these things and get better with every single one.
Do you want me to go into this or not? Or have we got time to talk about Perseus, Polaris and things?
Yeah, by all means, do it.
So I think there was a little misconception over the Polaris, is that we didn't have signage because we didn't know what we were doing, or we didn't have signage for this that, and the other.
I assumed you didn't know what
I'll be honest, I didn't want it to be overly signposted. And was that right? Probably not now, looking back at it, because the general feedback has been people much prefer it. For me, what I was trying to do with the Polaris was I wanted it to feel like a cold, intimidating, kind of brutalist space that wasn't like particularly welcoming, wasn't particularly well signposted. Like they were all decisions that we were making to try and make it feel just somewhere that was a war machine. And that was kind of like the vision that I was trying to put into it. Did the team ask to put signage? Yeah, some of the team did want to put signage on it. And I was like, actually, I don't want to overcook it. Obviously, on top of that, it was the first time that we were learning a lot as we were going. We were building out kind of RSI kits. We were kind of investing a lot of time into like the underlying structure that we needed to then be able to build future ships quicker and smoother. And I think, obviously with the Perseus, we saw that a lot of the feedback was people didn't like it, people got lost, they didn't like the lighting, they thought it was bland and everything else. So we used the Perseus as an opportunity, and the NA team, they did a fantastic job with it, and all credit to those guys that they looked at it and they were like, what did we learn? What are we going to improve? And it's resoundingly been a success. Everyone seems to, or from what I've seen, it's been very, very positive in how that's been received. Are we going to go back and change that on the Polaris? Are we going to go back and make changes? We will make changes. When? It's not coming tomorrow. So we need a little bit of time to kind of go back and focus it.
Polaris
We are making
changes.
some quality of life changes sooner rather than later. But what I don't want to do is I don't want to kind of like knee-jerk react, make loads of changes to it, put it all in, and then them not be, just kind of rush it. I'd rather kind of do it right and have a little bit of time just to kind of let the dust settle, look at what was really successful, learn from it, and go in and make those changes.
It's a $975 ship. You don't want to rush it.
I was trying to do one thing and it turned out people didn't like it. That's fine. Like that's absolutely fine. And I'd rather have the opportunity to go in and fix it than actually, no, screw you guys, you're kind of done. So we will go back, we will kind of make updates to it. Will it be as colourful and bright as what the Perseus is? Maybe, maybe not, but I want to experiment with it and try it first before I kind of hard commit to, this is exactly what we're doing.
Okay, so, welcome back, Luna. And probably for everyone else coming, because the stream number jumped a little while ago. It's gone down again slightly, but just for everyone that's going, so that what we know now, Hull B coming 2026, Raylan coming 2026, Ironclad gone up, Hull B gone up, and Raylan gone up in terms of cargo capacity. D and E have gone down massively in terms of cargo capacity. They're still far and away the biggest, but it's 6,000, just over 6,000, just over 12,000 respectively. Aurora Gold Pass next year, Aurora Mark II next year. Yes, Mark II. With all the paints they originally sold it with, those are coming as well. Polaris will get a terminal on the bridge, will be able to control the torpedo, so the back right one, as you look forward, so the starboard aft terminal, in other words. However, it won't have access to the 360 camera, so you better hope whatever you're shooting at, it stays in front of you for the entire time it takes you to lock on and fire. Anything I miss? Everyone else in chat will bring you up to speed. Let's keep going.
I appreciate your candor on that. Chat's made that comment a couple times in the show today. It's
but not soon.
One of the things I like about getting to do these shows is that we get to just be real candid about that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's some things happen because of it takes a village, and there's 30 people involved in that, and a thing that's like that.
Can I just clarify? No one said anything about the price. I have no idea where $100 has come from. That's not in the video, just to clarify.
Because it has to be the synthesized decisions of 30 people, and that's why it ended up that way. And some things are, I wanted it that way, and I take credit and also responsibility.
Yeah, responsibility. That's
it. Exactly. And I really appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
And whatnot. And again, just to read between the lines there. Eventually, he said he'd go back and look at some quality of life stuff in the short term. But this, like the folks who have been waiting for the 600i, rework. This isn't a rework, but it's just when we talk about these things, we're giving our best intentions and knowledge that we have at the time. But that's not a schedule.
600i.
And there's some things that we can do
avoided it even
relatively quickly, and there's other things that take a little bit more time and just a little bit more thought process into it. And I just want to make sure that we kind of we do it right.
Yeah. But I will say the RSI kit, like in the last, starting with the Polaris. I know we just had some words about the Polaris interior, but there is so much of the Polaris that just pushed that RSI brand beyond.
Yeah, and then we also have the Zeus,
the Polaris and the Zeus, and stuff like this. It's
there was this whole thing with the Polaris and the Zeus where, for me, the Polaris was what originally I'd wanted RSI military ships to feel like, and the Zeus was this commercial, something like a little bit more inviting, a little bit more welcoming, and I think with the Perseus we kind of found that really nice balance between the two. So we just need to go back and sort it.
I'm excited about the future of RSI. I've always been, I've always been an admitted Drake guy because I like the usable future and everything. But the last year I've really come around on RSI. It's what I saw with the Zeus, what I saw with the with the Polaris was just like, oh, maybe I have a new favorite. And it's nice when your favorite also shares the boss's name, just as a political commentary. This next question is simply shark mouth Perseus skin. Please.
Maybe. Not sure yet. I'm going to be non-committal. I don't know. I'll be honest. When Chris asked for the shark mouth Idris, I was just like, nah.
Well, you know what I could do? You know, we got all these like monthly holiday promotions, Stella Fortuna and I could go back there. We could invent Shark Week.
Shark Week, okay.
Shark Week 30th century.
I bet you Shark Week
and just force you to make shark paints for.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see if someone in chat says that Shark Week's already a thing.
It is a thing.
But no, it is a thing in real life, but this is the 30th century.
Yeah.
They're moving over.
We just continued it.
Do sharks still exist in the 30th century?
Manny, let's talk about a Shark Week. Manny doesn't watch the show. The next question, Star Kitten Perseus paint, please, by 2 different people.
Fuck off.
One of them wasn't me, I promise.
Yeah, I was going to say, is this Mark? So it's always Star Kitten, isn't it? It's
Yep.
Bloody Star Kitten.
Just give us.
Ben hates Starkit.
No.
Like
Everyone-
everyone's like, give us Star Kit, and Ben's just like, nah, can't. I refuse.
Thank you,
Everyone
Ben.
thinks I hate Star Kitten. I don't hate Star Kitten.
I hate Star Kitten.
I just want it to be used and released for a reason.
You watch your fucking
Yeah,
mouth.
like if we have a Star Kitten celebration month, then yeah, of course we do Star Kitten paints, like, absolutely. But I don't want to just slap Star Kitten on it.
Are you challenging me?
No, just because everyone likes Star, like
No.
I think it's got to feel right, and just slapping it on the side of a ship for no reason doesn't feel right to me.
Come here. There is nothing, absolutely nothing about Star Kitten that feels right. Nothing. That's all.
Me, I'd love to build out that whole family, whole brand a little bit further. So it's not just Star Kitty. There's a whole a whole host of characters.
Star Shark.
Star Shark, yeah, that's fine. But yeah, not right now.
Okay.
Yeah, unless Chris asks me to, and then I'll.
I doubt that request will come from.
Oh, don't know.
He does have a whimsical streak.
He is on board with doing
that
more
people don't
characters
give
in
him
family,
credit
so,
for.
yeah.
You know, the fact that I've survived for 11 years proves he's got a whimsical streak. But last Perseus question: how will ammunition be replaced on the Perseus during combat? Will there be some kind of ammunition containers in the cargo hold?
Yes, so I think we've talked about this before, but I'll go over it again. We have plans, short term, that you'll be able to sort of restock, rearm, refuel from select ships from the stores that you have loaded onto their cargo grids, and if there's another ship in the hangar bay, whatever.
Talked about that at Citizen
Yeah.
Direct. So
We talk about so much, I'm starting to forget when and where we said stuff. So that's more for like rearming and refueling ships that are docked aboard your ship, landed on your ship. But the same will apply to ammo as well. So if you've got ballistic ammo on your ship, ballistic weapons, short term, it will essentially hoover it out the cargo grid. Mid, long term, we'll have like dedicated space next to those turrets. We sort of left space for this in the Perseus 2 turret rooms. They're just arted up with like fluff. You see it in the stance attack. There's all this cool artwork that implies loading of stuff.
There is. I
That
saw
you'll be
that the other
then
day.
manually loading the specific ammo type into that area, and that will go to that weapon.
salvation questions.
Looks that
Can
way.
you add a button on the back of the salvation to keep expelling the boxes in the buffer? Having to keep going into the cockpit to press the button should not be necessary. Thank you. That sounds like a bug.
Yeah, if you've pressed the button in the cockpit to keep auto-ejecting, it should just keep auto-ejecting.
Good
and
answer.
if not, it's a bug.
Did that get removed?
Didn't get it working. It is a bug though, so if we get it to issue cancel, we can get that looked into.
Okay. Will the salvation fit in and work with the Galaxy's refinery module? Look, I mentioned the Galaxy.
Galaxy question. the only one.
It will fit inside the rear hangar, and then you can unload the cargo and refine it.
That's cool.
There's like a big double
Salvation
door from
Galaxy
the rear hangar to
Refinery
the
combo
modular
confirmed.
section. So
Nice.
It'll be
Easy.
relatively easy
Shut
to
up,
fit
Marcus.
inside there, to be honest.
Honestly.
I was going to say,
we might have to stop.
probably get a couple in there,
Get a
won't
couple.
You know how you scroll through your your YouTube shorts, right? And you get to the one and it's some person talking on live, or they're playing games and it says, mention this equals ban. Do you think I should do that for Star Kitten in this stream? Do you think that's how I like attract more viewers? Is that how that works? What do you reckon? No, I'm not putting a poll up, you monsters.
And then not a
I
bother.
have to stop the Salvation flying through that double door into the refinery module.
I hadn't thought of that.
Good challenge.
No, I don't want people doing that.
Chat's like, Galaxy 2026 confirmed. What made you decide to lock the Salvation salvage beams to modified cinches instead of allowing them to be upgradable, swappable?
So the main role and purpose of the Salvation is to be a introduction into
By
the
not
actual
saying the word,
the entire world of salvage. It's a good entry ship just to get started, and we wanted the heads that came with it to specifically try and be a easy experience. So it's very forgiving, but obviously the result is the yield isn't very good. It's just supposed to be,
Fuck off, Asher.
hey, listen, you know you don't really know what you're doing very well with it. Let's make it nice and easy for you. And then if you end up really liking the Kree and wanting to progress, you move out of the Salvation. So we wanted to be able to very strictly control that experience and not have that head used on other ships, because it's not meant to be a good optimal head. It's just supposed to be
It's literally a starter.
easy.
Yeah.
That's exactly in a nutshell. We don't want to add complexity to a starter.
Yeah, it's the same thing we did with the Golem.
Yeah.
earlier
It's
this
exactly
year.
that it's the, when we originally talked about them, we talked about them being the opposite sides, one salvation.
Torsten's not here. I don't know if cinches are the best option for hull scraping. It's supposed to focus on hull scraping, but that might just be me being a little bitch.
The beauty of them being locked and bespoke versions is we can tune them. Like if they're not performing how we want, then we can change them.
All right, let's move on to Clipper. Clipper.
No Clippy.
That was a. You ever see it? You know, there are things you see in this game. You know, in this project, you work here long enough, you see a lot of things. The Intrepid showing up early and everybody absolutely hating it, and then it going live, and then it moving like hotcakes as far as volume. The Clipper.
I like the Intrepid.
You know, when we put it in.
Everyone's like,
Look, this is gonna anger a couple people, and there's a theme here because something else is going to happen this week that is going to anger a couple people. But more on that later. There's a theme here, right? Which is everybody hated it. Everybody hated the Intrepid. No, that's not what happened. What happened was a very small, vocal minority got onto Spectrum like they do every day of the week and twice on Sundays and bitched. And the majority of people who, because they're healthy non-lunatics, non-psychopaths, looking at you, Edison, stay off Spectrum, we don't comment. So they don't get that kind of, they don't get the other side of the feedback. All they get the people that will literally at anything. And by I mean they will at whatever the fuck they want. Sorry, that probably peaked the mic. But you get my point, right? This is what happens, is that Spectrum is a wretched hum of scum and villainy, right? Wretched hive of scum and villainy, that's what I meant to say. Jesus Christ, why was that hard? And the whole point there is that people get on and they will whinge about literally anything. They will be the ones, not considering yourself, Mark, they will be the ones who will go and whinge about the whole D and Holly. They don't own one, they never wanted one. If you ask them to, load up a D or an E, they would actually uninstall rather than doing it, but they will be on there and bitch regardless, because bitching is what they do day in and day out. That's a really good example. Everyone whinged about the Intrepid, sold like a hotcake when it came out.
Put it into build, and, those folks who data mine and stuff like that, putting out YouTube videos and whatever, and be like, oh, this thing's so ugly, and then it goes live, and, I mean, it's now the most successful Drake introduction ship that we've ever done.
This is true.
So where was I going with it? Where was I going with this? I got lost. Oh, there's a question here. They already wrote it. The Clipper. What will it be able to craft?
Good question.
Obviously, we're not the people doing crafting, so I can't give you exacts, but it's designed to be FPS items and small ship items, sort of within that world. It's not designed to be like, I want to make another vehicle. It's clearly not going to fit. And it's sort of part of the balance of that ship. Everyone's like, why does it not have a bigger cargo bay? Why doesn't it have a bigger this?
I like that socially. Spectrum is the Star Citizen version of getting all the angry people to 2 men enter, 1 man leave. I like it. Yeah, I'm good with that.
It's the jack of all trades, master of none. It has a relatively small cargo grid, relatively small crafting machine to sort of constrain that.
I feel like there was a pretty good answer to this question in the Q&A. In the Q&A that got published alongside, and that's that basically crafting is still being worked on. We did a segment on it at CitizenCon Direct, what the very first version of crafting is currently scheduled to look like. It should avail itself of everything in that first version, but then as crafting continues to develop and it continues to diversify, the nature of what it can craft will probably change as the nature of what can be crafted in the game can change. So it's not really a answer that we can give right now. Trispone says, Jared, it's still ugly though. Your mom. I love the Clipper. Why has the Clipper, despite its massive physical size, only 2 size 1 shields?
Again, it's the jack of all trades, master of none. If we gave it really big shields, like when we were doing this ship, it had quite a few internal nicknames for its roles and capabilities, and we were pretty concerned it was just going to be like...
Nice plan.
When people first heard about it, they're like, this is going to break the game. Like, we need to have some form of like balance and control on it. And that's sort of why it doesn't have a huge amount of shields. Mm-hmm. And as a benefit of having size 1 shields, it means you can actually craft size 1 shields. Like, if your shield gets destroyed, you can go craft another one on board and go fix it. Whereas if you had a size 2 shield, it's probably not going to fit. Like, we wouldn't have had space to fit it. It would have got even bigger, taller, longer to fit that.
Also, it's quite Drake, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it kind of fits with the theme.
Too many guns, too few shields.
Yeah.
Colour sodas.
Send it. It's fine.
And this next question on the Clipper, we originally had Rich on the show from the vehicle experience team. He wasn't able to make it at the last minute, so this is really a question for him. But why limit the Clipper in speed to below 1,000 and not 1,100 to 1,200? This ship should be fast based on its name and the number of engines. So we know his answer was balance just where it's supposed to be, in line with it being a generalist and not a specific speed demon kind of thing. There are a lot of engines.
There are, again, it's Drake. There's a lot of engines. They may not be the best engines in the world, but it makes up for them.
Sure
with the
do
number.
look cool though.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Just like big doesn't mean they're powerful.
No, exactly. Yeah.
I do.
Very inefficient.
This it's a weird thing to like, but the animation on the engines is really satisfying to watch when you open it up. I don't know why. There are two things that are getting really. Again, it's really nice to see evolve over time. One is the ship animations are getting really, really, really dialed in. And two, I'm going to shout out Simon and everybody on CIG Audio, your ship audio lately. We had Simon on, I can't remember how long, Simon and Phil on, about the new era and CIG Audio team
Wolf,
and whatnot,
Clipper,
and what they've been doing for our
sounds.
ships this year. The L-22 weapons specifically.
The Wolf's
the weapons,
noises were incredible. The audio from the weapons.
Like, I know it makes no sense to the vacuum of space. I don't care. Looks cool.
Sounds cool.
Speaking of the Wolf, we only had one question here for the Wolf.
yes.
Will the kits for the Wolf be available in-game for AUEC? Yes, eventually. The Wolf weapon kits are no different than let's see, how many have we done? So we introduced the first weapon kit with the Idris K. The Idris K was a weapon kit, and then we introduced that back in 2019 and whatnot. And yeah, it didn't come online until May of this year, but it came online there. The Heartseeker turret for the Hornet in February is another weapon kit. That is currently not in game. I just had a conversation with Andre and the economy guys. That's going in game in 4.5. It's just one of those things that we didn't see it.
I missed what that was, but
the
that's going
Nova
over 4.5.
tank Gatling gun and the
Scorpius
missile turrets. Those were sold exclusively on the store for a period of time to fund the project, and then those are in game now. These are absolutely no different. It's no different than all those things that we've literally been doing since 2019 with the Idris K kit. It's the weapon kits, like the ship weapons. We used to.
A little bit defensive, but it's okay.
We'll go off on a tangent here. We used to make variants that were just weapon loadouts, like the Hornet Wildfire and the Saber Comet and stuff like this and whatnot. At the Starfighters, the Ion and the Inferno and whatnot. And I don't think any of us really felt super good about that. It was where the tech was at the time, and that's what we could do. Now with this era of weapon kits and whatever, we cannot have to develop an entire variant just for a loadout thing. And I think that's a better value proposition for our players, quite frankly. But it is still a means of just like we used to sell those. I'm just going to call them kind of crappy variants, weapon loadout variants. We used to sell those to fund the project. Now we do these instead of those. And like everything, they'll go into the game. I don't know what the period of exclusivity is, but it's not hardcore and defined. It's like the Heartseeker turrets going in now because it just is. But yeah, those will go in. The Idris K weapon kit will go in at some point back when I leave here. I don't think it's in right now. So I'll go and I'll talk to economy after this.
Idris T.
The Idris T kit, right? Idris T. We've done weapon kits for a while now, and stuff like this. So they all make it into the game eventually. So
Can I just mention one wolf thing?
Yeah.
I know the paints were a little bit broken when they went out.
Right.
It hurt me, but it was either that or broken damage, and it was deemed that we wanted the ship to function properly, even if the paints were a little bit broken. The yellow lines over the front retros just crushed me. Yeah. But it's been fixed. It was fixed within a few hours of the build going. It was just something that was too late for us to fix for the release.
Nice.
And yes, Chad is reminding me eventually a way to get the railgun for the Idris M from the Idris M.
It'll fit in the shop.
Big shop.
Big shop.
Yep. I think the big mistake is everybody assumes they go into UEC shops.
Yeah.
And that's never been what's said. No. They will be attainable in game. So for a long time, UEC shops were the only way we could do that. But now loot is diversifying. People have just seen the physicalization of helmets and stuff like this. There's going to be certain things that you can only get through loot. Crafting is somewhere around the corner. That will be another way to attain these things in game. And Wicklow, everybody's favorite.
Everyone's favorite Banny.
Which some people online, not completely incorrectly, have dubbed crafting light. When it works. Despite what some people online have said, I've never sat here and lied to you, not once in 11 years. I'm not going to start now. But all of these different ways are ways to achieve, or ways to acquire things in game. It's not just automatically UEC shops. That said, the wolf kits will eventually be in UEC shops. I'm just making a point that it's not just automatically that. All right, so let's move to some general ship questions. Really excited about the Generalist class of ships, seemingly formalized by the Clipper. Any other manufacturers that we might be seeing some Generalist ships from?
Yeah, definitely think it's in 2026. There'll definitely be at least one more. I'm not going to say any more than that.
We're just going to reveal the entire 2026 schedule tonight. That's right. All right. Just saying there's going to be another Generalist ship.
There'll be another Generalist ship.
I'm trying to scratch my head thinking, what we signed up for? I can't remember.
It's been so many at this point.
Yeah. And I don't know if this is the next question, but why we've changed the categories and gone through them all.
Yeah, in 4.4, people probably logged in and saw that a lot of the categories were kind of fixed and updated on their ASOP.
I had a bug come across my desk for ground vehicles displaying as ground. and it annoyed me immensely.
As opposed to
so I
ground air
went
or
into
ground
our tools to have a look
air
at it and just discovered this web of
ground sea,
broken stuff. And
ground space.
as you do, you start pulling at the thread and fixing one thing, and then you realise the inconsistencies. So we went through and aligned them all. We got rid of ground as a career, because whose career is ground. So all the combat vehicles that are ground vehicles are now combat with their like sub-classification, and that just morphed into just re-looking at them all. Light, medium, heavy, freight.
Yeah.
We also realigned some of the categories because they were done 5+ years ago when we didn't have the range of cargo ships we have in game.
Yep.
So we've sort of normalized that out to new numbers. I can't remember if we've published that or it's our thing
This is
we're
gonna
going to
keep
do,
happening.
shipyard.
Yeah, no.
Again.
We are.
Just before Jared launches into that, this is going to be a tagline, right? I'm going to put it on a damn t-shirt. The only insane thing you can do in Star Citizen is expect things to stay the same. And of course, some things will, like the things that you pay for. But to expect categories and stuff to stay the same is just lunacy. That's not going to happen, clearly, and it's not. Moving on.
It's one of those things. You and I did the shipyard back in 2016, 2017, and we say every year that it's time to update it and whatever.
Yeah.
We are going to find time
Yeah.
to do an updated shipyard in 2026. That's another thing that's coming in 2026. It's absolutely needed. I got to get these other teams I'm building fully up on board and whatever, and then I can go back to that stuff.
It also knocked onto the web as well. Like the web store is an entirely different set of data,
Oh, yeah.
saying an entirely different set of things. So just trying to...
I had to make a post. I had to make a post last week because we are part of the
Matrix
things.
of vague.
People are like, "What does Jared actually do when he's not filming like this?" Well,
You'll be filming, aren't you?
one of the things I'm in charge of is this massive store audit that we're doing. So we made a mistake. We've been trying to add. We've been slowly adding, slowly working out.
That would be because, when they bought their ship and they clicked the little agree thing, they didn't read it. Just saying.
Definitions for all the different roles and the types and adding them to the website, and like Rome's not built in a day. But I made an update to, and it was me who did it. I made an update to, I can't even remember what ship it was, and I removed part of a definition that I didn't mean to remove, and I had to like, oh nope, that's not an actual change. That's me trying to do a good thing, messing up. So we put it on there. Jared, we want more video content because we like it. I like it too. And there will be more video content next year. Probably not back to what it was at the high day, but I am bound and determined to do more next year than we did this year. That's another thing. I don't know how I'm going to do it.
Save this for like New Year's Eve.
This sort of is art. No. It's kind of our New Year's Eve.
They might work New Year's Eve. I'll get in trouble.
Have you made any good progress on the Caterpillar and Ironclad command modules?
Yes.
Next question.
Oh, okay, fine.
No,
it's fine. That's fine. That's all you want from me, Jared.
Go ahead and say it.
So the actual Parasite stuff for being able to take control of the large ship and flight control. We've actually got the first playable coming up very soon.
Good.
They've used a prototype of existing ships, but the Ironclad and the command module have been built with it in mind. There's slight tweaks needed for them to use it with that, but first playable's coming up soon, and we're currently on track to have it come out with it, with the actual release of the Ironclad.
Oh, wait, was there any truth to the rumor that you just took the command module of the Caterpillar, stuck asymmetric wings on it, and called it the Clipper?
No.
Now that you think about the ship, it's similar.
No, we turned it upside down and called it the Cutter.
Yeah, that was the cutter, yeah.
That's quite funny.
5 new ships released at this year's IAE, yet all are missing a practical, quite useful element: downward-facing landing lights. Why has this critical element been overlooked in ship design? Are you stupid?
Maybe.
I added that last part.
I mean, possibly. So I think it depends what context we're talking about. Because if the practical purpose of them is the same reason that people wanted really, really powerful headlights and lights on the ship, it's to help them navigate in the dark. So it's easier to land and go about on dark planet surfaces. It when we kept extending the range of the headlights, it didn't work well. It's really unperformant. And when you got a group of ships together and they're all pointing at each other, it was impossible to see anything because it would just be like driving down the highway.
Everyone remembers the scouts.
Everyone's got the high beams
Scouts,
on.
super bright thing you can see from orbit.
Yeah, it was too much. But people need a way to be able to actually navigate in the dark. Like, absolutely, that's something that's needed. So
Night vision landing camera.
So, we do have plans for
John's
a solution.
He's
It's a
gonna kill
system
him.
called, we're calling it LAMP.
Lamp.
Not Star Lamp?
I mean, I didn't pick the name, Jared. I didn't pick the name of it. But it's LAMP.
Lamp is
Damn,
dark.
nice.
It's to...
I love Lamp.
Oh, I love that film. The entire purpose is light amplification. So it's to let people be able to fly and navigate at night. It's currently in early stages. We don't exactly know when it's going to be going out, but what it does is it puts light amplification on all of the canopy glasses, so you actually be able to see what you're doing in the dark.
That's cool.
If people have used the FPS
like
scopes with
that.
the light amplification, it's a more expanded version of that
For your
Nice.
cockpit
for
glass?
your cockpit
Yeah.
glass.
Good.
So
Good.
that's the
Positive
solution
change.
to have you navigate at night. Now, if the question was because it's cool,
Yeah, it is
bit for the
cool.
ships.
Yeah, just blame me. It's fine.
I still want an underneath landing camera though. Still want, especially on, what's the one that took off and landed vertical?
Sula.
Yeah, so that was good for that. Yeah. With the Clipper debuting an integrated crafting station, are we going to see them added to existing ships such as the Carrack or Aquila?
Carrack, yes, because it was one of the promised features of that ship was this repair room, which at the time sort of was pretty undefined, but now it's repair is sort of like crafting your own small items for things, and you can sort of repair adjacently to it. And we were talking about the Kilo. We can't remember that being a thing for it.
I don't remember that either. I think that.
If someone has
What did they say?
some
What
hard
ship?
evidence for that being a thing, put it in chat or comments or the Spectrum thread. Tag me on Spectrum.
Send your comments, Carrack, John Crew.
Yeah.
We spent like a good hour today digging through every single bit of the old marketing material for every generation of it and couldn't find a thing about it on the Aquila. Just
Aquila.
Aquila.
Tomato.
It's the Aquila.
If anyone
No, it's
has
Aquila.
got anything of it, just
Aegis
tag me.
is-
Me and John Spectrum will. Yeah,
I do look on Spectrum, but it's
you just don't reply.
I don't reply because I get a lot of tags.
Okay, so here's another one. With another large ship added, Perseus, conspicuously lacking the option to reserve a name, even if it wouldn't be visible in game, can someone please give us an update on the intentions around ship naming? We've had absolutely no word in years to confirm or deny that the original reservation system is still aligned with the team's philosophy. If it is, then what's stopping you from adding ship naming simply on the web hanger side, so we can reserve the unique names we have in mind?
So from a vehicle content point of view, there's two things there. Since we introduced vehicle naming and serials with the Hercules and a slew of other ships, we've done the setup on all the ships to support having names
Interesting.
since then. So anything in like the last 3-4 years
4 years.
has the setup for it. We're not, at least from an art point of view, not particularly happy with how it works because it's basically a fixed size, maximum 32 carat long length string that goes on the exterior of the vehicle. If you name your ship B, it's the same size B
Jordan,
as if you
you're
had
very
32
welcome, my
Bs
friend. I'm glad
in a
we can
line.
keep
So
you
it
company.
doesn't look great.
More than welcome here. Always.
It doesn't react to the paints. We get to
Happy
pick
Thanksgiving, my friend.
the font and the color in the current system. So if you pick, you've got a black hull ship with white font, looks great on the default. You go put a white paint on it, it doesn't react to that. We need to enhance that. So either the paints have an override for the serial numbers and colors, or the serials do some magic to detect that. And we also want to like highlight them with lighting. So like you see on the Enterprise, it has little lights that illuminate up the name and the serial number. And we need that to work with the dynamic scaling side of it as well. So from a content side of view, it works. We're not particularly happy with it. There's also a huge amount of work that goes on the platform side that they would need to answer. I know it's a hugely manual process. because of the way so many people own so many ships, and because it's unique names, they do it in a wave system. So you need to go work out the owners of every ship, divide it into waves, let each wave have time, and like I say, it's manual, and then it has to be approved because people on the internet put naughty words on the outside of their spaceship.
Yeah, it basically needs feature work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Really.
we can do it, but it's a huge amount of manual work. That
Still wanted. Chris is being busters on it. It just
Yeah,
needs
and
feature work.
like John says, we set all the ships up. There's some polish and niceties that we would like to improve the visuals, but then it's more on the feature side that's the issue.
We need it to be scalable as well. From like the time investment to set it up, it's a huge amount of it. There needs to be more practical way to do it.
And if we're asking about just being able to reserve it, that's not their bailiwick. That's not something they can answer for us.
Back away from this one because it looks like a hard
Let's
one.
make these mind up.
trying to work out which
settle
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
They're all very nervous now. They must know there's a couple of tough
Oh,
questions.
it's one of them.
Oh no.
You know he's going to John with this.
Oh,
No,
no.
he's not going to John with this.
Oh,
Don't say a word. Gonna need some more info on the battlecruiser there, Chief. Don't say a word. Don't say a word. I'll say this so that if somebody gets angry at me, they can just come to me. The battlecruiser, for those of you who don't know, is our last concept. It's from the original crowdfunded campaign. We didn't do any concept ships this year. It's our intention to never do another concept ship again, other than the battlecruiser.
Interesting. So they're talking about why there wasn't names, Jordan. Why they did a couple of waves of names and then they haven't done it again. Did that mean that they were going to stop doing it, or were they going to continue to play, or and allow us to do that? They're basically saying that yes, it's a massive overhead. There are bigger priorities at the minute because each name individually needs to be reviewed, and then you need to allow time for people to see that it's happening, and then time for wave 1 to do it, and wave 2, and wave 3, and so on and so on and so on. So yeah, they're basically saying yes, it's coming. No, it's not coming soon. So no more concepts confirmed. Yeah, I have said that their specific wording during the September video was the battlecruiser was going to be their last concept. What they didn't say was that it was going to be the only concept they had left to do, which is interesting. Now I want to show you something, okay? Because I think that is a disappointing answer, and I'm not talking about the concept ships. Right, necessarily. I'm not saying that the idea of not doing concept ships anymore is disappointing. What I'm saying is they've missed some stuff. Okay, and I'm going to drag it across and show you what I mean. Okay, so this is what they've missed. So what worries me is this is where it's come from. Okay, so if people never get past the crowdfunding thing. This is the bit that bothers me. So on here were all the original stretch goals, all the way back when they were saying, hey, if we hit 2.5 million, lol, it's the Anvil Gladiator. Now here's the problem with this. I'm going to go down and I can't quite remember where they are, so bear with me if I kind of pause and read. Here's the first one. Star Citizen will feature an additional playable ship class, the Cruiser. Which ships are the cruisers again? We don't have them at the minute. Okay. Bengal Carrier is a playable ship class, so that's in. It didn't say ownable, it said playable. The frigate we have the Idris. This is the second one that I find disappointing. The escort carrier. Now, according to law, the Pegasus is an escort carrier. However, there is no indication that the Pegasus is the escort carrier that we get, and now there's no indication we're going to get one. Now, what that may mean to keep those promises, it may mean that the escort carrier and the cruiser are going to go straight to flyable. What I find far more likely is that they're not coming. And I don't know, and it'll be a question that I think needs to go on the forum here as a follow-up.
When it comes,
But that worries me a little. Or maybe they'll just come like later on, and that'll be that, right? But we'll see. Escort carriers, yeah, socially, exactly that. Yeah, the Wayback Machine. That's it. And what I find more compelling about those are people like, yeah, they change loads of things. They say loads of things back in the day that they're not now going to do. I agree, but that's specifically attached to funding goals. And that makes it a little bit harder for them to turn around and go, yeah, we're not doing that. So that's where we are. Just wanted to bring that to your guys' attention because, yeah, I'm not liking the idea that they're not going to do that, but let's continue.
I'm going to watch the chat for this.
being a giant military style thing, if only there was a giant military style event that would be appropriate to reveal such things. That's probably where you might expect to learn more about it. And definitely not here, where we've already spilled the beans on too much of the 2026 schedule.
Squadron 42? Is that what he's talking about? Could be Invictus, could be Squadron 42. Invictus 2029, says Erland. Erland, you optimist. Invictus. So military-themed event, yes, that. Might even be Squadron. Then he said we've already spilled too much of the 2026 schedule. Does he mean Invictus next year? Is that what they're hinting at? Surely not. No, I don't know. What do you guys think? Yeah, so it's listed as a carrier. It's not listed as an escort carrier. And I know I'm picking on but there is genuinely a difference between a carrier and an escort carrier. There is genuinely a difference. Last concepts are not flyable. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Kraken's coming at some point, but it's actively in development as we speak.
Did you confirm the manufacturer then or not?
Well, we're not revealing that.
Wait, did you just confirm it for 2026?
I feel like we're not
Did
doing
I?
2026.
Did I? No.
You didn't.
Citizen Joe's like, open development. Open development doesn't mean we just say everything that comes into our brain. That's never been what open development is. It's never what it's going to be. Open development.
It's some Invictus at some point, not even next year.
Been very open.
Hulu.
All right. Have you identified a stopping point where SC will have enough ships?
No.
No. Well, why does there have to be a limit?
Well,
Yeah, that.
we haven't even, if you think of a matrix of all different sizes and manufacturers, we haven't even filled one of every size and role.
We just got our salvage starter.
Right? And
One of them.
We don't just want one in most of the slots because people want a choice, right? Some people don't like RSI, some people don't like Drake, some people don't like...
Those are all terrible
Origin.
people.
Granted, but we want people to have options, and we haven't even filled out the basic matrix yet.
And like our alien races, we've got a few more systems to make and a few more places to go. And I think there's a lot of opportunities there.
There's one alien race that is in the lore that we've never done anything with.
Kurthak.
Yeah.
Yep. Shout out to Wingman. just deep lore there.
Deep.
To my knowledge, he invented it. And okay, so at this point, as we work towards the end here, these are going to be more general gameplay questions that are related around spaceships. I want to preface this by saying these are the vehicle content folks. These are the people that make the spaceships. The folks who make gameplay that spaceships utilize are not always the same thing. For instance, salvage and mining. These folks have nothing to do with salvage and mining. Those are whole gameplay system design teams and stuff like this. And we will have more shows, it's Torsten and stuff like that. So we're not able to answer every single question that comes in about this stuff, but we've tried to work out a few that we could research and ping some people for some answers. Can you separate docking and hangar requests for ships with a docking port like the Perseus? Please, dear God, yes. As docking is quite buggy and very unreliable, it makes it very hard to get into places like Orizon, Alevsky, and stations.
Agreed.
Is there anything more we can say other than I think every single one of us here is annoyed by this?
It'd be cool.
Yeah. We should probably talk with the people doing the command module work because they might be able to squeeze that in with their work. And actually, fun backstory that goes to the Apollo. So a lot of people, well, I think probably 50-50 realize the back ramp and opening of the Apollo is very small. That's because it's a docking collar. It's both a small one and a big one, but it doesn't function in game because of that bug. And I told the team not to set it up as a docking collar because that would have meant that the Apollo would have had this. So every time you come to try and land somewhere, instead of a medium hangar,
it was always
trying to do the docking.
Yeah.
So that's why the Apollo has this small entrance, is because it has a built-in docking collar to dock to other ships' stations in the future when we have the ability to split that up properly.
Yeah.
Not because I wanted to stop vehicles being crammed in the back of it, which was also another reason. But
Yes, Cobalt 016, butt docking.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it's officially referred to as. Correct. But no, I would say, I think I can safely say there's not a human being here that isn't annoyed the heck by it. It's on the feature request list.
Especially everyone going to Levski.
Yeah. So maybe that's one of those things. It's just a priority call like everything else. Let's just be real. But there's not a single human being here that doesn't want it. Let's see. There was a question about AI blades. It's not really for this team to discuss, but yes, still wanted, still intended. You might have seen some struggle with the MDC recently, and I mean that's essentially what is a PDT, but an AI blade controlled turret and whatnot. And you're seeing right now live and in real time some of the limitations with the current implementation of that. I know that we were you were bugging things up and you were chasing this stuff down. I'm watching. One of the pleasures of my job is I get to watch John pop up in like half a dozen different chats like, this needs to get fixed and this needs to get fixed and this needs to get fixed and whatnot. So it's still intended. It's still the thing. It's ships like the Clipper and the Generalist. Solo players it is our intention never to leave solo players behind. Yes, it is a massively multiplayer online universe. Yes, you'll be able to always do more with friends and with colleagues and allies and stuff like this. But there should be a place for people who don't want to do any of that. We're very passionate about that. That is still at the core of our intention for this game. And things like AI blades, things like, we used to talk a lot about NPC crews, stuff like that. All that stuff was designed for that. It's just all things in their time.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people, obviously on Spectrum and Reddit, talking about, oh, well, they've got the flight blades and the AI blades. Surely it's easy just to get the rest of it in. That the way we've had to implement them, it isn't how blades are going to have to work. We've had to use our current systems in interesting ways to get them to function the way that they are, and it's just not how blades are going to be.
No. How much does 7-Up pay me? Oh.
Quick, 10 the Dr. Pepper.
This is all the sugar I'm allowed for like an entire year.
Do we get commission? Oh,
Still say with it.
oh, you can't see.
No, they can't see it.
Can't see mine. It's fine.
It's out of shot.
He's got Dr. Pepper.
There it is.
Camera's it. No camera. There you go. Where is that camera?
Will ships like the Perseus and other multi-crew ships for that matter ever get missions with scalable payouts rewards that actually encourage multi-crew? I don't see the point of any multi-crew ships like the Perseus when nothing in this game rewards group play, as rewards and credits are always split. If you, again, this is not one for the vehicle content team, but if you follow along with the monthly report, it's like this, you'll see occasional mentions of Mission 2.0. This is, I mean, I'm going to sound a little like a broken record here. It's another refactoring of the entire mission system in order to do the things that we all wanted to do. For years, missions weren't able to give you rewards. You couldn't ever complete a reward and get anything other than credits for that and stuff. It's just one of the challenges of we run a live environment during the development of our game. Most games get to do all this secretly. You would never get a mission system that doesn't have, things like we can give you an item for a reward and stuff like this. The mission system that they're currently working on and whatnot is the thing that we've been specking out for years. It's the thing that will unlock incredibly dedicated developers like Elliot Maltby and Yorin and all those.
It's me, John. I'm bad.
When you only list two names, it
channel
starts to sound like a
problems.
real jerk because you don't list everybody else. Max, and I'm blanking on other names. They're going to think, thanks for not mentioning me. But all those members of the mission team, they are chomping at the bit. They want this new system too, so that they can do exactly the kinds of things that you're talking about. It's just another way the Star Citizen will continue to evolve. And after a year that's been relatively dry with features, and we knew it would be. We came out here, I sat here for 2-3 hours with Benoit at the beginning of the year saying that the 2026 schedule should be. We've done a lot of talking about 2026. And I want to say this as honestly and as candidly as I can. I'm using the word should be because the other maxim that I run into the ground is the only constant in game development is change. It should be a marked change from 2025 as far as feature work goes. It won't be the relentless pace of 2024 or 2023 as far as broken, half-finished things. But we took this year to get those proverbial ducks in a row to develop these things further along. So it is, you'll see with engineering on the horizon, and then crafting tech preview after that, and then hopefully all on its way to base building and a whole host of things like scanning and radar improvements and stuff in between. 2020, it is everybody's hope that 2026 is going to have a lot more stuff like that, including mission system work, which is how I got on this. For Disco directly, are we going to see more normal SCL and ISC schedule next year? I was going to say there are no normal SCLs or ISCs. Yes, again, I think I said it earlier, not back to 2024 schedule, not back to 2015 schedule where I was doing 5 shows a week. But I want to find more ways to get back to this more often. The reason for the change this year was elucidated back in February with that show with Benoit, but it was also big changes in my role here internally and my responsibilities and stuff like this. So we're at the point now where I can go back and we can go back and with feature work coming online, we should be able to tell more stories. It's hard because quite frankly, when you're doing content, you don't want to spoil the content. You don't want to, if we had kept doing an ISC every single week, every single aspect of dark territory and a line of mine, all this, there would have been no discovery for anybody whatsoever. And
they kind of did.
We just really tried to avoid that. We're a game company.
But then they did say there's more stuff coming.
A lot of people are working to make this tremendous content. They would like for you to experience it in game. And I agree with that. So we scaled the shows back. But with more feature work coming online next year, we should be able to spike the shows up a bit. And we're still kicking around ideas of different kinds of shows we can do. That's still...
Puppet show.
A what?
Puppet show.
No,
oh my God, yes.
When are we getting the Polaris and other newly released capital ships into PU shops? That goes back to the answer I gave earlier today. Not every ship is going to UEC shops. It's just not. The ships will be attainable in game. These ships will be earnable in game. That's not the same as every ship goes into a store. This is one of those things that he'll forgive me if I speak on his behalf, but I've literally heard him say these words. It's like the idea that you go into a Hertz rent-a-car and rent a Nimitz-class aircraft carrier, like it just makes the brain itch. It's like there should be other ways. That's where crafting comes in. That's where, to an extent, at the moment, Wicklow comes in, stuff like this. And then other ways, reputation gains and stuff like that. There'll be many more ways for you to attain these ships other than just UEC. It's just, frankly, boring and not particularly interesting, which are, I guess, are the same thing, and just not diegetic with the universe that we're building to put every single thing into a UEC shop. The idea that you go to New Deal and pick up an Idris is kind of silly. So, finding other ways, but they will all be attainable in game, one way or another, or in multiple ways. Can we please get a general quarters alarm on multi-crew ships? Gosh, we were talking on that show that I had Simon and Phil on earlier. They committed to doing that on that ship. And if I'm misremembering that, and they didn't, I'm going to say they did right now. But yes, again, it's one of those things. There's not a human being here that doesn't want it.
Who doesn't want that red alert moment?
You need it. You need that red alert moment. You know, all hands, the battle station, stuff like this. We just want it. Will ballistic weapons have different types of ammunition? For example, high velocity, explosive, incendiary.
That's still the plan as far as I'm aware. Again, that's not really a vehicle thing. That's just like that's a game-wide ammo types question for the game and system designers.
I've heard talks of explosive rounds quite a few times. Are you ever going to make turrets actually decent? Yes. Or should we just all bring light fighters? Yeah, that's the work of that's the work of
being rich.
A Rich's team or whatever. They've done.
Edison, was that you? Was that your question? Just checking.
Several passes and making improvements of them over the years. They have gotten better, but I don't think anybody's going to sit here and tell you they're where everybody wants it to be. So
I do quite like the idea of little fighters as turrets that you can eject off. And
you keep bringing that up.
I know.
What?
Mark keeps shutting me down.
What?
He wants ships as turrets that detach and fly off.
Fly around, shoot things and come back.
Like detachable
ships.
Turret pods?
Yeah.
That just fly around?
In the back, you fly around, blow some stuff up, come back, land. Mark keeps shutting me down. He's the reason of good. In the
I'll accept that reason. I will, if people don't like that one, I will bear that cross.
You know, it makes sense. We'll be able to do it right when we get the command module and iPads on.
Whether just because we can doesn't mean we should.
Okay.
Open development.
Oh, chat's going real fast. Hold on.
There's some friction in the team right now.
That's not what I'm seeing here.
Oh, okay.
Team Mark, if you agree with not doing it and it's a bad idea. Team Ben, if you think it's a good idea.
The LGBT Alaban says, fix the things in game first. I could be really snide here, but this is a comment that comes up very often, so I'm going to address it. There are nearly 1,000 people who work for CIG between Star Citizen and Squadron 42, and the people who worked on the 30K errors and whatnot are not the same people that build the Argo Mole. And it's like this. It's not a question of fix this first before you do that. It is with hundreds and hundreds of people on dozens and dozens of teams, all with different focuses, all with different aptitudes, stuff like this. It's possible to do these things over here, not at the expense of these things over here. And in fact, allowing these people to do these things are how these people get to focus and how these people get to bury their head, in their work and just
And get
hit on.
paid.
There has been a freight elevator strike team going since just before. Was it Race for Stanton? Was that one? And they have not stopped. There's been a little strike team, and I'm privileged to be in that chat, and I get to see them every single day. They have not stopped one day since Race for Stanton dropped, working and fixing freight elevator stuff and all the various edge cases and hardening that system. And they get to do that because we have other teams, content teams, working to put other things in the game to keep engagement going, to keep the game, alive and thriving while they keep their heads down and focus on that. So it is not ever a question of fix this before you do that. We're doing both. We're doing both with 2 different teams, 3 different teams, 5 different teams, 10 different teams, and things will be done in their time, which is not always the super delightful answer. I mean, kind of sucks to be told it's not tomorrow. Not as bad as John's nerf to the Hull D and Hull E cargo. That's just trash. But but no, it's just I want to take that opportunity just to smash it, because I see that, and it's a totally normal thing to think that you can't do this. You should do this before you do this, but that's just not the way game development works. All right, we're wrapping up here. I'm going to do one last question. That's really a series of questions. Let's see how much I can get away with. We've said a lot about this next year's ships. So we've talked about the Aurora Gold Standard, and we revealed that an Aurora Mark II is going to come. What else did we confirm?
That's a dangerous
Not fall into that trap. Yeah,
I'm getting confused.
Raylan,
Raylan is coming. Raylan is coming next
Parasite module.
year.
command module, which implies
Okay,
Ironclads.
well, no, because you said the command module will come alongside the Ironclad.
Yeah.
And so if you just said the command module is going to come next year.
No, we didn't say it was coming next year. We just said what have we confirmed.
But John just said,
I just said it.
you just said the command module.
I'll go say everything.
Lamps are coming to the game.
This is what happens when we don't do a show in a while. I forget how these things work.
2 seconds.
Let's go ahead.
Pictish, I've got some bad news, my friend. D&E have gone down in cargo. They're still ridiculously large cargo quantities. They are still going to be the largest cargo quantities in the game. But D's gone down to just over 6K. E's gone down to just over 12K. Sorry, bud.
Not reveal the entire ship list of 2026 because people like no
one's interested in that.
People like to
I enjoy
people like
watching
to
the
talk
videos.
and people like to. But let's give. I hit the content. I hit some of the content creators at the beginning of the show. The people who do the
What are they working on?
what is it called when they do the watch?
Relation.
No,
Oh,
they
watch
do the-
parties. Like,
No, not watch party. It's not a party.
Co-streaming.
No, when they sit there and they
Highlights?
react videos.
React
That's what it's called. That's what it's called. Let's give people.
Like
Let's
this?
give them something to react to that they can feed the beast because they do
Okay,
wonderful
let's do the react.
service for our project and
do
get
it.
the game
Come on,
out,
what is
stuff
it?
Like this. Let's reveal the manufacturers of every ship in 2026.
Okay.
Because we know what the schedule
I hope
is.
someone's got the list.
Let's reveal the
Releasing or working on?
releasing.
Two different.
Just the manufacturers of the releasing ships in 2026.
Drake.
Yep.
Aegis.
RSI.
Aegis, yep. Did you say RSI?
Yep.
RSI.
Jake,
Anvil.
sorry, Aegis.
Yes.
Misk.
Yes.
Anvil, Miss.
A Misk ship. Oh,
Kruger.
Kruger is
Yep.
getting another
Another
ship.
Kruger ship. Ooh.
Grays.
Grays is getting another ship.
Grays is
Origin.
Origin is back. Origin is back with another ship next year.
Gatak.
Gatak has another ship next year.
I think. Oh. Your favourite colour.
Oh, Argo.
No, he means Grey Cat. And Grey Cat.
And Grey Cat.
Grey Cat's getting a vehicle next year. So those are the, I'm pretty confident those are the main.
Trying to go rack my brain. These questions.
So do you notice no Consolidated Outlander, no Pioneer?
It's hurt me.
Yeah. So those are the manufacturers who are releasing new ships in 2026, and immediately people are like, oh, Consolidated Outland, forgot again. Crusader, boo.
Oh, there is no
We're not
Crusader.
doing
Why do you hate
Crusader, I don't
Crusader,
think.
Ben?
I love Crusader.
Yeah, those are just the ones we're releasing on.
Those are just really not the ones that are being worked on.
There are other manufacturers being worked on.
Yep.
Imply from that what you wish.
Revealed a new. Let's just push our luck. It revealed that
Nope,
there's going to be another Kruger ship. This
good.
is not another Wolf variant. You want to? Let's give him the name. Let's give him the name. And let him speculate.
I'm suddenly panicking that this is it's Stingray.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Sorry, I was just making sure it wasn't a working
Ooh,
title. 'Cause
Kruger
we have some
Stingray.
quite interesting working titles.
Yeah, we do.
So the Stingray. The
Nice.
Stingray will be the name of the next Kruger ship some point next year, and people can guess. People can speculate about what that is, and then let's end on a high note. This is IAE. We're about to go into the finale. The finale where
What's coming next
think
month?
all the ships come back.
What's coming next month?
The big ship for IAE this year was
Perseus.
Perseus. I mean, it was always like a big ship. The big ship for Fleet Week this year was the Idris. What was the big ship for IAE last year?
Polaris.
Polaris. Oh, the big ship for IAE last year is the Polaris. Go ahead. Let's let John do this.
I was going to say I'm backing out of this
Let's go to
conversation
John's
right now.
camera.
We can't get
Let's
told off.
go
if John
ahead
does
and
it.
tell people what the big ship for IAE is next year.
The big ship planned for next IE is the RSI Galaxy.
Ooh. There you go.
There you go.
Just like we said, we were going to do the RSI ships in a series. Still
Galaxy
sticking to
next
that.
year.
So-
Confirmed.
And there is from some of those manufacturers. There's multiple ships coming, not just.
Oh yeah. That's not. We
Possibly
listed.
such.
We
Yeah,
listed
I
like,
saw some people asking about certain ships.
yeah, we listed like 11 manufacturers. That's not only 11 ships. We did 27 ships this year.
Yep.
I don't know how many ships. I can't remember off the top of my head how many ships next year, but it's close. If
The
not,
eating, Jared.
About the same.
Jared with the
So-
eating.
So some of those manufacturers have multiple.
Some big, some small.
Yep. But yeah. But all right. So yeah. That's been
No, Russia. Doesn't look like it.
2026.
Well, they did
Star
say
Citizen
RSI.
Live. Lots of ship talk. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you had some laughs. We had some good news. We had some bad news.
I
but
don't think
all
you are,
throughout
Jordan,
it, we
because
had
they
some real news.
vet them.
And as
So
always,
you're not going to get away with that,
I'm
buddy.
eternally appreciative to John and Ben and Mark who are willing to come on here and speak candidly about this
No
stuff.
Galaxy from Victus.
Sometimes
No
a
Ironclad.
little too candidly about the 2026 schedule, but it's all right.
Open development.
Don't choke, Jared. We kind of need you, mate.
Just as we went for the bite.
No. Anyway, thanks for watching. Remember that Twitch drops are going on right now. It's Star Citizen's
I'm
first
just
Twitch
gonna- I'm
drops
just
are
gonna
on
scroll
Twitch.
across.
I don't know if we had them set up
And
for
make
our
sure
stream
that they don't
or
do
not.
anything like at the
Other
end,
people
like they do in some
handle that
of the
stuff.
videos.
But if they didn't watch, if you didn't earn them watching our stream, there's dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of Star Citizen streamers out there.
So
you can watch them.
I know you can't hear it. I'm going to knock it down. He's talking about Twitch drops, and if he says anything other than more reasonable, I'll bring it back and we'll listen to it. But I'll listen to the eating so you don't have to deal with it. So yeah. So that's where we are. He's still talking about the Twitch drop stuff. So yeah. Better to snack than be hungry. Or just eat beforehand, right? It's only a 2-hour show. He could have just eaten beforehand. He could have eaten beforehand. Your Twizzler. Right. Yeah, he's just talking. He's saying that ISC is coming back with engineering going on and all that sort of good stuff. So yeah, good. Fantastic. That's enough of that. Let's skip across. Let's do this one. Okay, so that's where we are. Yeah, so I picked a little bit of a shame about. Well, I say a shame about the D&E. They are still going to be the biggest ships in the game, and the idea of loading up 98,000 SCU. I think if you look at the other ships in terms of capacity and cost, they would have had to have gone up significantly in price, because when they were created at a time when SCU wasn't SCU, right? It was a different type of cargo unit. So you need to be a little bit kind of, just bear that in mind, and maybe temper your disappointment with that. Maybe just sell it. The disappointment. I'm not telling you you're wrong for feeling disappointed. I'm just saying that I think we had a look at the Holly during MISC, and I looked at that 98,000 SCU, and it was just like, what the fuck. I think for their price point, they still work. You look at ships that you spend more money on, or very equivalent amounts of money, have a much less. They are dedicated space truckers. They are the largest cargo hauls of the game, and that's where we are. So yeah, auto cargo loading defo seems to become a lot less of a thing, says Can. I think people with the Holly were hoping to hard on auto load for it to work. Yeah, you're right. There's that. Yes, it does still have the O cargo listed. That's changing. I think that the reason, one of the things that they said was that there is a problem with updating the information. So you have the information that sits within the game is different from the information on the webpage. Now that's not excusing it. I'm not excusing it, and it could have been changed, and they probably should have said that before a couple of days after the sale. You're right. However, they've also said that the problem with 98,000 SCU on one ship is the chances that it just wouldn't work performance-wise. The game tracking that many objects. I don't know. Is it 32 times 3? So you've got 3,032 SCU containers. The game tracking that's just ridiculous. So it wouldn't have worked. And of course that is an error from back in the day. So that change I get. You were entirely right. Why did they list it? My answer, I don't know. So yeah. So there's that. Yeah. So again, like I say, not saying that you're wrong in being disappointed. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you're wrong for feeling a little bit cheated that they posted it. However, the reasons that they're bringing it down, had they said we're going to bring it down and we're going to sell a Hull F, I think, people would have set fire to Spectrum, and they would have been right to do so. That's not what's happening. So, whilst again, it's not going to temper your disappointment that much, I just think, what they're trying to do is keep true to the original Holly vision, while still being able to deliver it rather than breaking everything. So I get it. I get you disappointed. I'm with you there 100%. So yes, 3,072 32 SU containers. That. Absolutely. Yeah, so 100% Pictish, and I'm with you. Absolutely. You say, so to speak, it's the knowing, then changing 2 days after a sale that's gripped my proverbial 100%. And I think, that is the sort of thing that could go on Spectrum very reasonably and say, I understand the reasons why, but you knew. There's no way they took that decision today. I don't believe it. So yeah. So there we go. So that's where that is. So I don't think for the responses, and I know this is not what you're saying. I don't think Pictish is saying that it should be up at that massive amount. He's entirely right in what he says. He can, There is still the chance for, and I think genuinely for anyone that has the whole D or E, I think if you genuinely have a problem with it, I think you could reach out to customer services and have a chat about what you do with that. That is such a fundamental change. I think you could if you wanted to. Of course, there's other ways you could go about it as well, but you know, if you're sat there going, "There's nothing else I want to do with that money," I don't see the harm in asking, right? That's such a fundamental change with what's gone on. What's the worst that they can say? The worst thing they can say to you is no. So I would certainly look at it that way. So yeah, huge headlines then. We're getting the Raylan next year. We're getting the Aurora Mark 1 Gold Pass and a Mark 2 next year. Armor version 1 is coming in with a 4.5 that's landing, we think, just before Christmas. And various other bits and pieces of good news that's happening. Hull B is coming next year. Hull B's gone up in cargo. Lots of changes. Lots and lots of changes. Lots of news in that one. And again, pleased that they are kind of keeping things, keeping things as open as they can do. It's nice to hear the mistakes. It's a shame they didn't change the stuff online. But yeah, lots of news. Going back again, the warbond today is for the A2. People not particularly impressed with that, and I 100% understand why. Tomorrow, Aegis Day. We know that there's not a concept coming now. That's been absolutely confirmed. Might be something coming. People keep saying that it's because there was a release yesterday and not today, it would follow the pattern. There's no information on that. There is nothing indicating that whatsoever. So it's not confirmed. However, should anything be released, you know I'll be here 15 minutes before the store changes over. That's 3:45 p.m. UK time. I'll be here streaming it. Would love to see you guys back again. To everyone out in the US, a very happy Thanksgiving to you and to yours. I hope you're all looking after yourselves, and just take care of yourselves. Look after yourselves. Jordan, to you too, my friend, and I hope things become easier for you, buddy. You've always got a place to come and hang out with us guys. If you are, if you're looking for some company, you're always welcome in the Discord, all that sort of good stuff. So yeah, great to see you all. I'm going to call it now. That's probably been the longest stream I think I've probably ever done over and above CitizenCon, really. That's been a long old one today. It's been fun hanging out with you all. But I'm going to call it now. I need to go and eat. I don't think the Hammerhead rework was confirmed, which was interesting. I don't think they actually said it for next year. I don't think they mentioned it at all. Although if they did, I just missed it. There was a lot to take in there. And, I might not necessarily have been as switched on with that as I was otherwise hoping to have been. But there we are. You've been watching Drinkers with Gaming Problems. Thank you very much for stopping by. I'll see you soon.